My 22 female twin, also 22 female, has slept or tried to sleep with every one of my boyfriends. I don't want her to meet my current boyfriend, 23 male, of 8 months. This has happened with every single guy that I've dated or been interested in. I've only had 3 relationships before my current one with John. My sister Sarah has tried to interfere with all of them. 2 of my exes cheated on me with her. The third, we broke up for other reasons, but Sarah still tried to seduce him. He was a good guy and always had boundaries with her, but that didn't stop her from trying. To the point of sending him nudes multiple times and then claiming, "Oops, wrong person," when he told her he wasn't interested. When that didn't work, she also tried to break us up by lying to my ex and our mutual friends that I was cheating. My ex didn't believe her, but some of my friends did. So yeah, that was fun to deal with. Then, when we were kids, like in middle/high school, if Sarah found out that I had a crush, she went after the guy herself. I used to tell her those things because, well, isn't that what sisters do? She always used it against me. I told her that I was working up the courage to ask my crush/the guy that I was talking to prom, and she then asked him, and he said yes. She said he had just been using me to get to her. Another time a few years before that, she announced to everyone in a class that we shared that I liked this one boy who got bullied a lot. Kids then started teasing him even more, and he hated me. I felt horrible for months. She thought it was the funniest thing ever. She also once told a teacher whose class I was doing bad in that I was into him and was willing to do favors for better grades. That got reported, and I had to go through this whole counseling thing before it was finally cleared up. It was extremely embarrassing. My sister just blew it off as a prank. There's so many other situations like this. She either gets guys who are interested in me to sleep with her, or ruins my chances with them by making bullshit up to make me look bad. She's ruined some of my friendships lying about me too. She told my best friend in high school that I was gossiping meanly about her and went as far as faking text messages. I don't know if she even actually wants these people for herself. You might think that it's obviously jealousy, but sometimes I honestly think that she just gets a kick out of messing with me. Anyway, I finally got my life more together after wasting the first couple of years on college on being depressed and a gaming addiction. I met my boyfriend John at a campus organization. I haven't told Sarah, but he ended up meeting my parents by accident today. I don't have much contact with them, but they decided to come for a surprise visit. They live over 5 hours away and do this a few times a semester, even though I've said that I don't like it. But that's for another post. John was in my room with me when they got here. I had no choice but to introduce them. He knows I was holding off on having them meet because I don't have the greatest relationship with them. Sarah lives at home with my parents while going to college locally. I'm certain they're going to mention meeting my boyfriend. And then cue her insisting on coming with them the next time they surprise visit me. Also stalking my social medias to try to figure out who he is. I've tried to explain the issues that I have with her to my parents. They think I'm overreacting. They say that she just wants to know what's going on in my life. To be involved. And yes, that is the problem. Her involvement. And not to mention, we used to be closer before I lost trust in her to stop doing this shit. So I have seen what her own life is like. She does things that my parents have no idea of. She takes party drugs sometimes. This wouldn't be a big deal, but she has no idea how to be responsible. She drives people around while drunk and high. My parents think that she's with a friend studying on weekends, but she's actually clubbing in the city and then crashes with her friends for the night. I'm not sure how many real boyfriends she had, but she's hooked up with a lot of guys the same night she met them. This has meant a few times she was scared of pregnancy. I've had to help her get Plan B. It sometimes feels like she sleeps with nearly any man that smiles at her, and told me that she's even had sex with a few girls while wasted, however that's possible. She confides all of these things to me, but whenever I need someone to talk to, she has no time. Never wants to hear anything unless she can save it as ammo. So I've gradually stopped telling her most things. If my parents knew all of this, they might see where I'm coming from. It's not just random that I don't want her meeting my boyfriend. It's not because I want to hurt her or something. The problem is, our parents are really strict and traditional, and they'd probably kick her out if I told them any of that. They don't believe in sex before marriage. My boyfriend is the first person that I've had sex with, and I'm afraid my sister could use that against me to them if she finds out. So what do I do? How can I keep Sarah from finding out about him and doing the same thing that she's done with all my past boyfriends? How do I explain it to my parents? In the comments, Kiss's Purple Chick says, just prep your boyfriend and tell him all the stuff you just wrote here. If he knows ahead of time that she's likely to come onto him, then he can cut things off before it gets too far. Block her from seeing your friends list. It sucks that you have such a shitty sister and that you have to hide your relationship from her. OP replies, a small, probably irrational part of me is worried that that would just be sealing my fate for this to happen again. But I know it's way more likely that with a heads up, he would shut her down from the start, as you say. He doesn't seem like a type to cheat, but neither did my exes, you know? I suppose I've got more in my favor to gain by explaining it to him than by hiding it, at least. I may block her. The problem is, Facebook and Insta is largely how I see what she's up to, since we don't talk too often. Plus, if she's realized I unfollowed or blocked her, she would flip out and then need to know why. Gary's Worse Than Karen says, also, why even have a relationship with your sister at all? If someone in my family had tried to seduce multiple love interests in my life throughout the years, they'd be done, sibling or not. It sounds like she doesn't want a relationship with her sister, but doesn't want her kicked to the curb either. It's a complicated relationship, and it seems like the parents are the real interference here. OP says, I would like to be able to connect in the future if she changes. As for right now, yes, I don't want to get vengeful because who knows where that would end if I let myself get back at her just for the feeling. What if I become like her? If she's addicted to drama, what if I became that way too? And I do feel like taking the high road gives people less ammo against you. But maybe that's naive. My parents do interfere a lot, but for all they try to be involved, they really see very little of what either of us are like as people. Palpable VT says, I think the high road here is just cutting your sister out. No need to be nasty about it, just stop talking. Trying to keep her in your life seems like it'll just cause you more worry, and you're still keeping her at a distance anyway. If your sister later realizes how horrible she was and wants to apologize and make amends, she can be the one to reach out to you, and she has an easy way to do so. Through your parents. OP replies, this all makes sense. I'm going to explain everything to my boyfriend today, and then have us both block her on social media. It's all my own hang-ups that are the reason that I haven't done that long ago. Yeah, I don't see how you can healthily continue having her, like, have access to your Instagram and Facebook, because that just lets her know everyone that's involved intimately, or at least very closely, to you in your life. And she has continuously triple-crossed you throughout your life, OP. I don't think she should have access to that information as much as, like, you only really feel connected and up-to-date with her life through the updates that she shares through those social media platforms. The risks far outweigh the benefits that you get from that type of connection. Honestly, you just have to block her. You know, it's what you're doing. It is the smart thing to do. It's what needs to be done. If she wants to talk to you, it can be through text message. Yes, you don't get to see what she's been up to in your life, but she also doesn't get to tear your life apart. She doesn't get to know about and contact your current boyfriend and repeat those same patterns. She can't be trusted. She should not be trusted for a long time. And removing her access is the only way to really move forward in this situation. I think just at least having that text message availability gives you the option to reunite in the future when she decides that she doesn't want to play these stupid fucking games anymore. But until then, yeah, stick to your guns. And now, onto the update. So I've made a lot of changes in my family life since I posted this a couple of weeks ago. I first told everything to my boyfriend. He was shocked and assured me that he would never cheat on me with my sister or anyone else. He also respected that I didn't want her to meet him. I decided to take the advice given and block her on social media. She immediately noticed, like within 10 minutes after I'd blocked her, and sent a text saying, "Did you block me on Instagram and Facebook?" So I didn't beat around the bush. I said yes because I didn't like how she's messed with my personal relationships. She tried to guilt trip me about how I hadn't told her about my boyfriend, which means that my parents must have told her about him like I knew they would. She exploded at me because, according to her, she would never have tried to stalk him or anything. But I hadn't even gotten a chance to say that I was worried that she would do this. She said it first, so what does that say? I told her that I flat out didn't trust her to not try to take people from me. She called me a psycho and selfish, but whatever really. I can't reason with her. She just never sees the problem with anything that she has done. The way she thinks makes it like arguing with a young child almost. I blocked her number. I still feel kinda bad doing this because what if there was an emergency and she needed me, but we live hours apart. So I figure/hope that my parents would be who she contacted in that case. Then, as for me, I also got a call from my mum soon after I blocked my sister, who wanted to know what I was doing because she was upset. She'd already heard my sister's side, which was just that I'd blocked her out of nowhere, so I tried to tell her my side. I did not tell her my sister's personal business about drugs and having sex. Like I said in the first post, I'm not going to fall to petty revenge. I just want her to stop interfering in my life. So all I said was that in the past, she had been inappropriate with guys that I've dated and has spread rumors about me, and it made me unable to trust her. My mum then wanted to know what I meant by inappropriate. My parents are really conservative and don't believe in having sex before marriage. She also got my dad on the call at this point, and I told them that the details didn't matter. She kept trying to go back to this point, even wanting to know if I had been having premarital sex. It was really frustrating. I told them that the point I'm trying to make is that my sister has broken my trust. They began saying that I should forgive her because they care about our family and don't want to see us fighting. Well, I'm not exactly fighting, I'm simply not going to be in contact with her. To them, it's the same thing. Then they wanted me to come home for a weekend to discuss everything as a family. I said I wasn't going to do that. I had made my decision and have no time for a trip. They said they would come to me then. That brought up how they show up for random visits even when I've said that I don't like it. I told them I didn't want them doing that anymore, and if they did it again, I wouldn't let them in or talk with them. So they flipped out. That was fun. I got to hear all about how I'm constantly making problems and don't care about my family. I ended up having to block their numbers because they kept calling back, and blocking them on Facebook because they were sending messages going back and forth between begging to talk and accusing me of being a terrible daughter and sister. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do about them. They did threaten to stop paying for my college if I cut them out of my life. I unblocked them to say that I want to be in touch with them and do love them, but I can't do the unexpected visits or them prying into my personal life. I said if they stop doing that, then I'm happy to have a relationship with them. They had a million reasons why I'm in the wrong. I couldn't deal with it and re-blocked them yesterday. So I don't know what my tuition deal is going to be now. My boyfriend at least has been really supportive during this shift. He thinks my parents are way out of line and my sister is crazy. He's really helped me keep me as sane as I can be. Overall, I just feel really shitty. I wish any of them would ever listen to what I say, but if they won't, then what can I do besides put up with what you all pointed out was really controlling, or take more control back myself? It just sucks that it has to be so final, I guess. I wouldn't mind a middle ground like planning a visit with them once in a while or talking with my sister about non-personal things, but they want way more than I do. In the comments, BG1952 says, I noticed they asked if you were having premarital relations and didn't focus at all on her doing inappropriate things with your boyfriends. Quite a leap. You did well to block your sister. She'll never stop trying to take things away from you as she's jealous that she's not the only daughter. OP says, well, they did, but the details of that wasn't really the point. I didn't want them to get sidetracked on a crusade about her having sex when my point was she's betrayed my trust. Then when I tried to redirect, they started asking about my own sex life. Their obsession with your sex life is gross. You're an adult, and it's none of their business. OP says, honestly, that's one reason I didn't want to straight up say that she's slept with them. If I give them one piece of information, then they'll want all of it. Sincerely? In addition to not saying anything personal to my sister the first time that she'd cheated me, I would tell my parents all the dirty things about her when they confronted me about blocking her. Or at least she threatens that she was going to tell. Maybe it wouldn't even work, but there are times that they should say fuck it and screw up the lives of those that we don't like. Even more so if they like screwing up ours. I'm flabbergasted at what that girl has been willing to put up with. I love my brother, but if he tried to seduce my wife, I'd beat the shit out of him and then piss on him. Yeah, not to say that OP was a doormat in this situation, but her tolerance for everything that her sister had done to her throughout her life, and then continuing to protect her, it's interesting to see. I can see why she had done that. I don't particularly agree with her approach to this situation, though. If it were me in this situation, I would read her to filth to the parents, because why should I protect her in this case? What has she ever done to earn my goodwill? Maybe this is the slap in the face that she needs to become a better person. Or maybe that is the wrathful side of me, the side of me that wants revenge on others that do me wrong, speaking, and that is not the logical thing to do in this situation. Either way, the parents themselves don't care to actually hear OP out and listen to what she's saying. They're just like, what? Is she having premarital sex? It's like, no. Like, I don't want to talk about that. Can you just listen? She did me wrong. I don't like that she did me wrong. I'm not going to tell you how she did me wrong, but that's all this is about. And they're like, but what about you? Did you have premarital sex? It's actually like talking to a brick wall. And I haven't personally had to deal with a situation like this, so I don't know how frustrating that really is, but I like to consider myself an empath. And as an empath, that must suck. No, but seriously. Big old rock and a hard place situation, this one. Because you can't just block them like you should. Because they will. It really does sound like they will cut off her tuition payments. So, I don't know the solution to this one, OP. Good luck going forward. I guess keep your sister blocked. Don't keep your parents blocked. Breadcrumb them. And get your tuition sorted out. Then drop a truth nuke if you want to. Tough one. Very tough situation. Good luck. I charged my friend $90 after she altered the dress that I lent her. Am I overreacting? I, 24 female, have a friend, 23 female, who came to me a month ago asking to borrow a blue bridesmaid's dress. I was a bridesmaid for a wedding with a blue theme not too long ago, so I lent her the dress that I used. She was a really good friend, so I didn't really mind helping her out. After I handed her the dress, she texted me thanking me, and I've not really heard from her since. Anyway, the wedding happened, and a week later, she came to return the dress that she borrowed. When she came over, I asked her how the wedding went and whether or not the dress was comfortable. That's when she admitted that she had it altered to fit her better since she was smaller than me, and that she liked it more snug. I was shocked, gagged, confused. I don't even know how to feel about it. She didn't even ask my permission to have it altered. Also, isn't it common etiquette to return borrowed things in the same condition that you receive them? Also, she could have just asked. Anyway, we had a conversation about how I didn't really appreciate what she did. She apologized and flat out said that I can still have it readjusted if I wanted to wear it again, and that she was willing to pay for it. I told her I wasn't sure that it would work, since she basically shrunk my dress. Then she suggested that I sell the dress. So I asked her to buy it since she took it upon herself to have it altered without my permission. She asked how much, and when I told her that it was $90, she straight up told me that it was too much, that she wasn't willing to pay that much for a dress that had been used. I feel like it's a reasonable price, as I bought it for almost $120. Also, it's a cute dress that I intend on wearing again. Am I overreacting for doing what I did? Is my reaction valid? P.S. Hoping that there are dress experts or dressmakers here. Is there a possibility to restore the dress to its original size? The dress is made of satin, and she made it snug around the bust and waist area. Here is the said dress for reference. And this is it. This is what I found through that link that they provided. In the comments, New Jellyfish says, "Not overreacting. My grandma used to say, borrow is related to gifted, and learned in the hard way that it's true. I honestly can't believe the audacity of altering the dress. A true friend would have told you, hey OP, thank you, but it's a little big for me, instead of basically making sure that you'll never be able to wear it again. If you have the receipt, or anything that shows the price, I would send it to her and demand at least the $90 you told her and stop considering her a friend." The cojones to tell her that she doesn't want to pay $90 for a used dress? She's the one that used it and then ruined it for the OP. Oh my god. And $90 is stupid cheap for a dress alteration to make it big again, if that were an offering that existed. She can't be that naive or so blasé that she didn't even hear the seamstress mention that it won't be able to put back again. Not overreacting. She was way out of line. No one would think that's a reasonable thing to do without asking. She decided to go beg the forgiveness route and did something that can't be undone. Even if they didn't cut away the extra fabric when they took it in, there are now needle holes, unless the person doing the altering used techniques used in theatre where the seams are made to not leave marks so that costumes can be reused. Assuming that you even want to keep this friendship given that you've been lied to here, in my opinion, I suggest no more loaning of clothes. There's no way there's not going to be stitch marks with that particular fabric, especially since it's such a simple style. Stage clothes are made from hardier fabrics that can take multiple alterations. It's a shame, as it's actually a rather pretty dress. I have no idea about what goes into dresses and alterations or any of that jazz, but I say, not overreacting, OP. I don't understand why people do terrible things like this and then act shocked when there is a very big, or I guess relatively very big. I mean, $90 is $90. It's not too much, but it's not too little. Why is she shocked that there's a price to pay for her actions? That's what I want to know. Like, obviously she has the audacity to do this in the first place, but how does she think she's going to get away with this? She's just like, oh, yeah, little thing. It's not going to fit you anymore because I fucked with it and I intentionally didn't tell you about it. And I'm really hoping that, like, you ignore that, even though the dress isn't going to fit you anymore. And, like, I've basically ruined it for you. Like, we're cool, right? This isn't a problem. No, actually, you're a piece of shit, friend, quote unquote. And now, onto the update. Hi, thank you for the comments and messages. Every one of them has been extremely kind and helpful. First of all, I want to address the people saying the original post was made up to promote the dress. I literally just wanted to know if there was any chance that it could be re-altered, because my friend was only willing to pay for re-alteration. Promoting the dress would benefit me in no way whatsoever. Now, on that matter, I've spoken to dressmakers, tailors, dress experts, and they all said that the dress cannot be restored to its original size and form since it's made of satin. I even went to the actual shop where my friend had it altered, but they also said that there was nothing they could do. Anyway, my former friend still refused to pay me and is still being a shitty person. Plus, she had the nerve to ask me to just give it to her or sell it to her at a lower price, and it got me wondering if that was her motive all along. She probably knew that the dress could not be re-altered, but I don't know. After all of that, I've decided to just cut her off and take the high road. I honestly don't have the time or energy to chase her down for $90. I know I can buy another cute dress with the $90, but I'd pay triple that to never ever speak to her or see her again. I ended up giving the dress to my roommate, who isn't a shitty friend. And thankfully, it fits her perfectly with some minor adjustments on the side maybe. So at least the dress didn't completely go to waste. Sorry if this isn't the dramatic update that some of you wanted. I know a lot of you were hoping that I'd take her to small claims court, but I'm choosing peace. If anything happens, I'll update. But for my sake, I hope that she stays the fuck away from me. In the comments, RatchetGirl24 says, well, it does sound like it was her ulterior motive all along. I'm glad that you've cut her out of your life. She was definitely no real friend. Sorry you lost your dress, though. Still not overreacting. Any good seamstress would have told the customer that once they altered a dress made out of this fabric, it could not be altered back to its original size. Your ex-friend simply ignored that warning. Nice, succinct little update. I love that, OP. It's just another one of those situations where this is a small price to pay to have an asshole out of your life. A lot of the times I feel like we see stories where you lend someone like this a few $1,000s because it's like maybe a close family member, maybe a close friend, and they just drag their feet on paying it back. And you get very upset because you're like, that was a lot of money that I didn't want to give out. But now that they've revealed themselves to be an asshole, maybe this is the price to pay for future peace. And if you look at it in that way, it stings a lot less, hopefully. Thanks for the story, thanks for the update, OP. I'm glad you didn't let this one get you down. Our next post is by user ThrowRA Should Ask, titled, I, 27 male, think my son's new friend could be his half-brother. So I'm not 100% sure, but the similarities are starting to scare me. After graduating from high school, I hooked up with one of the alumni. She was 26, they used to help out at all the school events. But then I found out that she had a boyfriend, and we broke up. At that time, me and my ex were already hooking up too, and she got pregnant months after. My son is 7. He meets a new friend that he hangs out with after school. The kid is like 8-ish, because he's a grade above my son, and guess who his fucking mum is? We met a couple of times picking our kids up, and she avoids me. It's not her avoiding me that has me suspicious, because of course it's awkward anyways with an ex. It's that him and my son have so many similar features. The way that they smile, hair, skin color, the shape of their eyes and noses are so similar to mine. And everyone in my family always says that my son looks exactly like me when I was a kid. Far as I know, I haven't heard of any dad around, and her Instagram doesn't show anyone else. I don't know if this is something to bring up to her at all. We didn't end things well at all, and she hated me, even though she was the one who was a cheater to her boyfriend. Should I ask her about it all, or is this just one of those things to leave alone? I'd hate to think that I have a kid out there not to know about, but if it's gonna hurt him more, then I'm not so sure. Edit. Stop telling me to covertly get a DNA test on a minor without anyone's consent. In the comments, if you'd known that she was pregnant back then, would you have wanted to find out if the child was yours? OP says, if I found out that she got pregnant after we ended things, I would have wanted to know if I'm the father even then. We didn't talk or see each other after that. I get what you're saying, but if I knew then, I would have wanted to find out before possibly missing out on my kid's life. Why do you think she never told you? And should you try finding out if the child is yours now? OP says, well, for one thing, I told her don't call me again because I don't want to see her. At the time, I was just really mad finding out that she was in a relationship with someone else because it made me the other guy, and that was someone that I never wanted to be. She got mad at some of the stuff that I told her, so that's why it didn't end on good terms. There was a lot of yelling from me, so I could think of why she wouldn't tell me. Thanks for replying. This is exactly why I wanted to get others' thoughts, because I might want to know if he is mine and try to be in his life. But this could bring a lot of changes for him and not in a good way. Are you prepared for the consequences if he is your son? OP says, I'm prepared to be there for him and help provide for his life. But I'm worried that I'm thinking more about what I want rather than what might be best for him. Like, I want to find out if he's mine and be in his life, but what if that ruins his home life or stability? These are just things I'm weighing. I guess so, yeah, it wouldn't be right. My fear is that it may be doing him more harm coming out with this. I do want to get to know him and be in his life if he is mine. And also, yeah, pay for what I would owe not being there in the beginning. I hate that it has to be super complicated like this. Has your son ever met his friend's dad? Yeah, I asked my son about that too, and he says that he hasn't seen his dad and that he doesn't talk about him. My son obviously might not know everything, and for all I know, maybe he does have his dad, biological or not, in his life. Did you notice any resemblances between him and your son? OP says, trust me, it is, and honestly, it's pretty crazy. Even before coming to the suspicion that he might be mine, because I didn't even know that she was his mum, my first thought was, holy shit, they look like twins. Are you currently married or in a relationship or co-parenting? OP says, I'm not with anyone, and that wouldn't be a reason that I wouldn't proceed anyways if they're cool with it or not. She's not involved. Again, one of those situations where I'm like, oof, all signs point to the most obvious answer in this situation. That kid is probably yours. And yeah, you need to confront her on this and get the full story as to why she has been keeping this kid from you. Regardless of how that relationship ended, you had every right to know that that child existed, and you had every right to be in that child's life. I don't know what you should do from here. I think there is a lot of people that would give a lot of different advice, ranging from, take her to court, drag her ass, get some money out of her for this one, yada yada. I think those solutions are not really solutions here because that will cause more of a problem. So I think you got to confront her, have a serious chat as to, why didn't you tell me about this? I think you'd go in with the assumption that he is your son, but ask for proof. And then realistically, start filing for custody, do child support, have this child be a part of your life because that is your son at the end of the day. I'm just going to go out there and say, I don't think there's a possibility that this child is not your son, and you deserve to have that connection with him. And now, on to the update. So I guess I was right in the end. He's mine. This whole frickin' time, I had another kid. Lucky that his mum was willing to talk to me about this. It wasn't easy not doing this in front of the kids, but I managed to ask her to meet up alone to talk. When I asked her the obvious, she started crying. And she said when we broke up, she found out about the pregnancy, but thought that her boyfriend back then was the father. But she revealed the cheating on him, and they did a paternity test after she gave birth. He wasn't the father, so he left. Then she didn't want to say anything to me because we weren't in contact anymore, and she knew that I didn't want to see her again, so she thought at the time maybe I would reject my son. Holy fuck, I was pissed. When we were talking about this, I was half yelling/crying over the whole thing. No matter how many times she told me sorry for assuming that I wouldn't want anything to do with him, that act still made me miss out on my son. Because now we were in this sort of fucked up scenario of our kids being friends and not knowing he's also my kid. My ex still hasn't stopped apologizing. I'm not trying to stay mad at her. She seems like she really regrets it, and so far, she's agreed to everything that I have asked for. Paternity test for starters when we got the proof that I'm his biological dad, wanting to spend time with him, let him know that I'm his dad. None of this has been easy. The kids seem to be having a better time adjusting. My son just thinks that it's cool right now to suddenly have a big brother. But I think when that excitement wears off, there will be more stuff to deal with. My eldest is more shy around me. Back then, he didn't really care. She already told him that I'm his dad, and we did a one-on-one meeting recently. I got to know him better and do something just me and him. It was a nice time. He still comes over with my son so they can hang out, or I see them together after school. I guess for me, it's been hard seeing him, and knowing that we still have a long way to go to building an actual relationship. I wish we could have had that since the beginning. It's still so trippy thinking about it though. My son unknowingly became friends with a kid that he didn't even know was his half-brother. Then what if I knew about him back then? Would my youngest even exist right now, if she would have told me? My mind goes back down the rabbit hole with that one. At least this hasn't affected their friendship. I'm hoping it stays strong the more I get to be a part of his life, and he becomes more a part of our lives. In the comments, I have 0 friends says, I'm glad that it worked out, but from how you wrote this, I wouldn't have told you either. Doesn't seem like it ended well, and you yelled and blamed her when she's too scared to come forward. Sounds like you missing out on the kid's first 8 years was also partly your fault. OP says, it didn't end well since I found out that she was cheating on both me and her boyfriend at the time. But that's why I'm trying to let go of that so that we can do better at co-parenting. How's the current wife taking this, or are you in a relationship? OP says, I'm not in a relationship. It's just me and my son. His mum isn't involved in his life right now. Okay, I was like, you have another set of problems. Thanks for the update. and I sincerely wish the best for you and your boys. Forgive, but don't forget. At least that's what my dad used to say. In regards to your oldest mom, OP replies, "Thank you. I hope I can make it work with them and not make it any more complicated. Still spending time with my youngest so he doesn't feel like he's being pushed aside, while also trying to build something with my other son. It's tough, but I'm happy having both of them in my life. Not sure about forgive, but I'm trying to move past what she did for his sake." Well, it sounds like she knows that she made a selfish decision after plenty of other selfish choices. Hopefully now she is willing to co-parent. And OP says, "I'm glad at least that she isn't making that an issue. Once I spend more time with him and we have a more established relationship, we plan to see a lawyer to find out about getting some type of custody with him. I just want him to know that his dad's not going anywhere." Wish I Had Listened says, "Wow, thanks for the update. Replace your regret with the joy of knowing that you have another son and his mother is not hostile towards you. You have some interesting waters to navigate. Wishing you the best." OP says, "Thanks. It'll be a ride for sure. I still need some time to process and try to move on from missing out on the beginning of his life. Soon, I know that we'll have our own memories, and that's the part that I'm looking forward to. Do feel joy knowing that I've got another kid. It's a feeling that I can't describe, but it just makes me smile. I've always had that mentality that every baby is a blessing, and in this case, I feel the same. That's awesome. One thing I would counsel, treat them exactly the same. It might be a really strong urge to try and make up for what was missed, but that will create a competitive dynamic between the boys. Just be a dad of two." OP says, "I understand what you mean. And I don't want my son feeling like he's being replaced or suddenly he doesn't matter. We're trying to still have our own quality time. So yeah, I agree about treating them equally because I want them to still be close as brothers without any resentment." A 26-year-old who volunteered at her old high school started hooking up with a recent graduate after he turned 18. This was while she was in a relationship with another man. This lady made a lot of definite choices. I had no sympathy for her, even without realizing that she's a teenage targeting creep. She made so many bad decisions, my god. Yeah, way too many people are focusing on the fact that OP yelled, and not enough on the fact that, when they first met, a 26-year-old who was volunteering as a mentor to her former high school groomed and preyed on an 18-year-old current high school student. This is pretty clear-cut. I'm a 26-year-old woman, coincidentally, and the idea of dating a high school student makes me want to throw up. I don't care that 18 is the legal age of a majority in the US. Someone my age preying on a teenager is fucking disgusting. OP's a victim of manipulation, and trying to paint his ex as the victim because he yelled at her is disingenuous and gross. Stop acting like men can't be abused. Anyone can be abused. I definitely skimmed over that part. I guess I didn't put two and two together because it's not something that happens here. In my experience, my high school did not have guys coming back in their mid-20s to mentor us. It was the grade 12s that were mentoring the rest of the school. That makes a whole lot more sense because I just assumed it was him at an appropriate age meeting her outside of school and the cheating happened. Oh my god. Yeah, she's a creep. I don't feel bad for her at all. Again, everything is me feeling bad for OP in this situation. So not only did she knowingly keep his child from him, she also groomed him. He preyed on a teenager. Yucky. We don't even know if he was 18 when this was happening. He could have been 17 or younger for all we know. That's just not good. How come OP is not making more of a deal of this? You know, he's kind of just burying that and not mentioning it at all. That's something that I would like to know from OP. How do you feel about a 26-year-old grooming you? Why did this never get brought up at all in the conversation? I feel like that is, just as bad here, and you're not addressing it. Please, OP, come back and tell us why. Again, not victim blaming. Please don't take this as me victim blaming. I'm genuinely curious why OP didn't touch on that more and let us know his feelings about it. Because, you had me fooled this entire time that it wasn't a problem. Anyway, thanks for the story and thanks for the update, OP. Good luck in the future and I hope you get that custody agreement. My wife's ex-boyfriend is terminally ill and would like to use his make-a-wish to spend a day with her. I, 40 male, am torn on what to do. Hello Reddit. My wife, let's call her Susan, and I have been married for 8 years. I've known her even before we were together, during which she was dating someone named Ken, obviously not a real name. We were all part of a choral group in church. The three of us were actually quite good friends, and I genuinely thought Susan and Ken were going to get married and be together for a long time. It was a shock when Susan told me that they were no longer together. According to her, one day Ken just decided that he wanted to move interstate. When asked why, he didn't explain. The next day, he asked Susan if she wanted to join him. Confused, Susan said no since she thought that it was way too soon, and she has work commitments. He then proceeded to break up with her, leaving Susan very depressed and confused. According to information from a friend several months after the breakup, Ken has planned this for a long time, and that he was seeing someone else interstate. However, these were all allegations based on some texts, and until now, Susan never found out why he left or why he broke up with her. It was all very confusing. When asked by friends about why they were no longer together, she simply said, "I don't know. He just broke up with me because I don't want to move interstate with him." Years passed, and we all forgot about it. Susan started to open up to me more, and then we started dating, and the rest followed. Anyway, yesterday, Susan received a call from Ken's mum. She's a nice lady who semi-frequently watches our performances and volunteers during the Christmas Carol season. It was all very sudden because we only see her once or twice a year, and she has never called in the past. She told Susan that Ken is terminally ill and has been for the past couple months. He's in a local hospital interstate. The hospital has a mini Make-A-Wish foundation run by volunteers, and apparently Ken's request is to go to the national park for a picnic with her. It's all weird, right? I thought it was a bluff too, but it all seems legit. I talked to Ken's mum, and we both agreed that it is odd. Ken's mum said that Susan doesn't have to say yes, she's simply passing on what Ken said. The prognosis for Ken is grim, and we don't know how much time we have left. I suppose the sooner we decide, the better. Susan is obviously confused. She wants nothing to do with Ken after what he's done to her, and a lengthy period has passed since then. But she admitted that she would feel bad refusing his last wish, especially if his prognosis is that grim. She said, jokingly, "Well, you don't have to worry about me cheating. He's gonna die anyway." A bit dark, but I mean, she has a point. Personally, I'm torn too. I trust Susan, and I know that nothing romantic or anything will come from this if she chooses to see Ken, but why does he want to see her now? For closure? That's the only thing that I can think of. He will most likely have a hospital volunteer stick around when he goes to the outing, so it's not like he can do anything weird, but why her? Why not use his wish for something else? Reversing the situation, however, if I am terminally ill and obviously have an intention to meet someone, etc., and it gets rejected, I would be beyond depressed. I know how awful it must be for your last wish to be rejected. Am I looking too much into this? Should we honor his wish and let Susan spend the day with him, or should we just refuse it? Any input is appreciated. Edit. Forgot to add that when going for the picnic, there will be a hospital volunteer tagging along to supervise Ken, so they won't be left alone. In the comments, Shihiki says, "Sounds like mortality has Ken reflecting on his life, and he wants a glimpse of what could have been, or revisit the mistakes that he has made. I imagine he's in a dark place and doesn't appreciate the burden that he's putting on the both of you. Be careful. The best case scenario is that he still holds a guilt for what he did to your wife and is seeking absolution. By contrast, he may be desperate to find any sort of legacy and hopes that his former love still holds a torch for him. That's just another incredible burden to put on someone and born of desperation. It's ultimately yours and your wife's choice to make, and it's a tough one, but perhaps a suitable compromise for all parties may be to exchange letters. If all Ken seeks is that absolution, then the letters may ultimately be enough. If he insists on a face-to-face meet following the letters, you may at least have a more informed view on his intentions to make a decision together. Best of luck." OP says, Actually, I just raised the idea of a Skype call of some sort before the meeting. We are waiting to call his mom, and we'll raise this idea also. Who knows? Maybe all of this can be resolved via Skype instead. Shihiki replies, I would like to assume his best intentions, but it might be best for initial contact to be written so as to avoid an ambush. Emotions are likely super high on both sides, and it only takes a few words to leave a lasting mark. Throw it the fuck away says, you're going to get a lot of comments saying that you have absolutely no responsibility to this man. He made his bed, etc., etc., etc. Because Reddit has a hyper-individualistic slant and borders on parody at some times. But, on a purely emotional level, if I flat out denied a request like this, I probably wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror for a while, and it does look like a bit of that guilt is already starting to nag at your wife. The guy wasn't abusive, the trip is going to be supervised by medical professionals, and most importantly, your wife has stated that she no longer has feelings for him. So any potential emotional damage that he could do is limited. I honestly don't see the issue in going. And even if you don't want to do that, why not just give him a Skype call? None of us have any idea what he wants to say. This seems like it's going to help define this man's death, and at what cost to your wife? An awkward conversation? Small thing, that. I disagree with the, well, what can I get out of it approach to all the decision-making, but even if I did, the answer is clear. You get to avoid a potentially tremendous amount of guilt. The picnic seems like a bit much, but I would open up a line of communication. OP replies, thank you for your input. This resonates with us because we're both quite emotional individuals. My wife has expressed many times that she would feel bad if she refused his wish. Personally, if I were in her shoes and I said no, I'd be feeling like shit for days too. As I said on other comments, my wife said that realizing that he's harmless and just wanted to apologize, etc., and she declined, would have worse emotional implication than him begging her to come back or telling her that he was unfaithful, etc. In the end, both of us have no idea what he would say, or what would happen. What we know is that he can't do anything stupid, or if he said something dumb, my wife wouldn't care anyway. It's the guilt and feeling bad of refusing the wish that's eating her up more than the potential awkwardness / what happened in the past. For me personally, I'm definitely curious and a bit weirded out, but I'm confident that nothing sinister is going to come out of this. I think that if you're confident that nothing sinister is going to come out of it, then you should just, make that happen. Maybe take it in baby steps, but rush it along a little bit because we don't know how much time he has left. It seems like putting it in writing first, and then a Skype call, and then the meeting to hash it all out if things go well. If he's not going to die before then, that seems like the best way to solve this one. We all know that Reddit has a hyper-individualistic slant when it comes to being like, well, you don't have to do shit because they don't owe you anything. You don't owe them anything. This, that, and the other. But if at the end of the day, you want to not have that guilt of saying no and not being crushed by this, then go ahead with it. I don't see the harm. Back up to the post, update 1. So my wife got a hold of Ken's mum, and we managed to ask more questions / clarifications. Thank you to those of you for your input on this one. Ken's mum only just heard about his plan to see Susan yesterday. No mention of it at all throughout his hospital stay. Ken's been reaching out to a lot of people recently, including his high school friends. She thinks that this could be a blanket attempt to reconcile with many people. When asked if she remembered anything / if Ken said anything in regards to the breakup with Susan actually asked this question herself. She said that she didn't even know both of them broke up until a couple of weeks after. An interesting thing she said is that Ken has always felt that there's nothing much for him to do in the state that he was originally from, the state that we are in, and that he wanted something different. He may have jumped the gun too quickly, landed a job too soon without consulting Susan, he didn't, and freaked when realizing Susan was not ready to move. Ken's mum thinks this is most likely the cause of the breakup, even though Ken never told her exactly why. They're not very close. Upon hearing this, Susan thinks that it makes sense. But she said what he did was still not very nice because he never told her that he was unhappy with their living arrangements at the time. Even though Ken did well in his new job, it was very stressful and he got into weed, alcohol, and heavy smoking. Those contribute to his current illness. It's been confirmed a medical volunteer will accompany him if he does choose to go outside hospital grounds. Since Ken is getting more unsteady on his feet, he will most likely be wheelchair-bound soon, according to her. When asked why meeting Susan in the park was his idea, Ken's mum simply had no idea. Ken is happy for me to accompany Susan to the park/venue, wherever it may be. He's also fine with us meeting in the hospital, but there's a strict 2-person-a-day visiting rule in place at the moment, so his mum may not be able to look after him if the both of us rock up at the same time. His mum would like to visit him daily to help with daily living and baths. Ken is reluctant with a Skype call or a phone call in general. Ken's mum stated that his speech is quite slurred at this stage, and he hasn't been eating and drinking much lately, so his mouth is dry most days, so it's uncomfortable for him to speak. Writing a letter is not something he can do these days due to him being drowsy from medications/sedated. Dictating would be hard too because, see point above. She's been helping him type emails to friends some days. There's a possibility of Ken to be transferred to his mum's home for his end of life if it gets to that stage. Ken's mum reiterates that Susan can decline the offer, and with everything going on in the world, she would understand if she can't make it. But she hopes that we would consider it for her son. With this update and the conversation with his mum, we are now more inclined to go instead of not going. Still would like some thoughts on what we may have missed, though I think it still covers everything now. We will be in regular contact with his mum until we know what's going on. Susan and I did a mini risk assessment, and we conclude that this is pretty harmless. She said she still feels apathetic towards him, but would still feel bad if she doesn't go to visit. So she would like to go with me, now that Ken and his mum said that it's okay for the both of us to go. Update 2. Thank you, Reddit, for all of your input. Susan and I just got back from doing shopping and chores, and we had some more time to talk about this. We actually reached out to a couple of friends in the choral group, and one of them actually knew Ken had been unwell. Just didn't know that he's that unwell. No one really talks about Ken in our group because Susan and I are still there. The fact that he's this unwell has been kept under wraps quite tightly. Susan said that it seems like she has the power to make Ken's end of life a bit easier, so she would like to visit him, along with me, and listen to what he has to say, if any, and that's the end of it. We don't know what the logistics will be / when this will happen, since obviously it would require a lot of planning from Ken's family as well, and himself, but I will post an update once we all meet him, since there seems to be a lot of interest in this. We've texted our choral group members to perhaps visit him together when the time is right and restrictions are lifted, and they were all keen to send him off with one last song, The Irish Blessing. We will be reading through the comments and replying the best we could. For those of you saying Make-A-Wish Foundation is for kids, we know this. This is the hospital's version of it, run completely by volunteers. It's only available in their end-of-life care facilities. I'm sure there's a proper name for this, and Ken's mum said Make-A-Wish because it explains what they do simply. Why at the park? No clue. But Ken must have said that to the organizer with his mum, and she simply relayed it. With him being that sick, I'm sure he didn't really care so much about location, as signified by his willingness for a change of venue and for me to join in too. And why did we decide to post this on Reddit? Well, because it's simply a very, very weird occurrence. It was a joke, actually. Susan said, "Lamau, why not post this on relationship advice and see what kind of interesting perspectives we get?" If it is just Ken and he's not dying and he wants to meet Susan at the park out of the blue, then the answer would have been hell no from the both of us. But the fact that he's been reaching out to others, after revelation with his mum of course, and unwell, makes it a bit more complicated. And now for update 3. We will be seeing Ken next week. The hospital doesn't allow large groups, so it'll just be the two of us visiting. The choir group will visit separately. Thank you all for your input. We'll make a post with an update on how that goes. And now, onto that update. Hi everyone, sorry for the late update. Life gets in the way and has been really busy. Anyway, I thought I'd make this update for those who were curious about how it all went. The meeting actually went really well. So after a couple of reschedules, we drove to the hospital to see Ken and his mum earlier this week. We arrived quite early in the morning, at around 8 a.m. His mum stays with him overnight most days, so it was good timing for her to hand over Ken to us while she goes back and rests. A Redditor suggested an idea that we brought in a care package for her, and we did. It's just a box filled with a couple of pairs of warm socks, moisturizer, books, and toiletries. She burst into tears when receiving those. It was such a great idea. Anyways, so firstly we came in together, my wife and myself, and we did a small catch-up. It was a slow process since Ken couldn't really speak too long in one go, if that makes sense, so it had to be broken up into sections. I asked him if he would like some time alone with Susan, and he said yes. So I left both of them alone, and went out for a walk, to do a bit of remote work on my laptop. I just told her to text me if she needs anything. So I left Susan and Ken for about a couple of hours before Susan texted me that I can come back up. Anyway, during this time, basically Susan asked, what happened to Ken? Why did he move interstate so soon, and was there another motive behind it? Well, the story goes as follows. Ken was working a low-paying job at the time and was feeling like he's never going to get any career progression. Susan and myself knew that Ken has always been creative-minded. He got a diploma in film and everything, but what we didn't know is that behind everyone's back during that time, he was searching for career opportunities in film and the animation industry. He put out a job application for fun, and a few months later got offered a position as an intern animator. Something along those lines, according to Susan. He was stoked, but he didn't expect that he would actually get the job, therefore he actually never planned anything in advance. The job required him to move interstate ASAP, and Ken felt pressured to say yes, since he's applied to similar jobs in the past but got rejected. Hence why it took him by surprise, and he didn't do any planning. It's the, well, I won't get it anyway, so why should I make arrangements mentality, according to Susan. So he asked Susan to move with him, but left out the job details, such as an intern. He would get paid even less than what he's earning with a lot of voluntary work. He was scared that Susan wouldn't approve of the lower wage, so he left out the details and just asked her to move out with him. He admitted that it was stupid and apologized for being immature about it. After the breakup, and after working a few months as an intern, he said that working in that industry is not like what he thought it would be. There was a lot of crunch time, to the point where him and the other interns were spending most of their time in the office, even sleeping while waiting for the program, code, and animation to finish compiling. I'm not tech savvy, but I figured animations take a long time to set up. He then got into alcohol, since everyone in the office also drinks. This then turned to severe drinking to cope with stress. This then turned to smoking and drugs. Anyways, he stuck it out and became a technical lead. But he said that he had zero social life or support apart from a couple of colleagues, and that he was burning himself out every day. The support he got was basically a small group that goes out on social drinks only. That's why he kept going back into alcohol and drugs, etc. He's been in and out of hospital with alcohol poisoning and never actually sought help. He said he might also be depressed, but he's earning enough just to pay rent, with all of his alcohol expenses, etc., so he didn't seek any help. He also did a lot of other bad decisions that are popcorn-worthy, but way too long to include. Things that got him arrested, fired from his job, so he had to find another one, etc., etc. When asked about the park situation, he said there was no malice intended. It was only because he was sick of being in the hospital all the time with no window of opportunity to go outside. And that's it, really. His substance abuse got him to where he is now. I managed to catch up with him and reminisce about the good old days when we were still hanging out together. I told him it's hard to see anyone these days due to COVID. He said that a few of his old friends from school have visited him, and he was so happy that they still care. He told me that he tried reaching out to his former girlfriend as well to apologize, but only Susan turned up. He has had other relationships since breaking up with her. He said he's sad about it, but he would like to tie up loose ends while he still has the time. In terms of his prognosis, I asked, and he said he doesn't know, though there are plans for him to continue his end-of-life care at home, and he would prefer it that way. When we left Ken, I asked Susan what she thought of everything, and she told me that she felt a lot better now that she's gone and seen him. She then told me all of the story above during the ride back home. Plenty of times she was cursing and saying, "Man, I can't believe he did that. What a dumb person." So for those of you who are worried that she might go back to Ken, sorry to burst your bubble, but I don't think it's happening. I asked her how she's feeling again the next day, and she's pretty much forgotten about it, and just hoped that his mum can cope with the stress since she's a nice person. She does look a lot less guilty though, so I'm glad that we did go. We haven't really touched on this topic again for days now, since we've been focusing more on work and our upcoming road trip. Thanks for all the Redditors who chimed in and helped from both perspectives. In these uncertain times, we should still try to be kind to others, and if there's any takeaway from this, it's to seek help if you need it. Obviously Ken was in a bad spot, but spurred by bad influences. If you know a friend of yours who is spiraling out of control or starting to get into destructive habits, reach out. Who knows, you might save a life. In the comments, I'm so glad that y'all did this. It's very sad, but you both were kind and generous enough to ease the heart of someone dying. OP says, thank you. We're glad we went. Damn, this whole thing was just so interesting to read. I'm glad you went too, even though reading the original story, I was kind of on the side of people who were saying that you shouldn't go. It looks like she was able to provide him with some peace after all of this. The idea that she was the only ex-girlfriend to come see him made me kind of sad. So at least he doesn't have to look back thinking that no ex wanted to see him at all. This also made me think how crazy it is how an impulsive decision like that has the power to make or break your life. Like, there are probably plenty of people out there who would just say, "So it all started when I took this job, dropped everything and moved out here, and it was the best decision I ever made." But in Ken's story, it's literally the worst decision that he could have made. It reminds me how fickle life can be. OP says, checking in for the last time and answering as many questions as we can at the moment. It's one of those cases where it didn't work out. Even though he made some questionable decisions, most of them in haste and without care of Susan's feelings, I still feel that in the end, he did the right thing by reaching out to people to make amends. There was a period where I thought maybe I, or we, as a collective group, should have reached out to him. But the fact of life is that people just sort of drift apart. It's like when you were in high school and people went their separate ways. My wife and I are not very big on social media, so never really heard any updates from him, and it would be awkward for us to interfere anyway. In the end, we managed to reconnect and made him a little bit more at ease at the end of his life, and that's all that matters. When asked, is it liver failure? OP says, from my understanding, yes. That on top of kidney and heart issues as well. Oh well, I guess that's the end of the story for that one. As much as it sucks for Ken, I mean, those were choices that he made. He could have chosen to make other choices, but I guess he was following his dream and it didn't turn out the way that he expected it to go. I feel bad for Ken. I truly do. But, you know, he had every opportunity to leave that life, come back to his home state, and start again without all of that. Without all the addiction, without all the drugs, without all the smoking. And I can only feel so bad for him here. It's not exactly like this came out of nowhere. And that's not to say that I have no empathy for him at all. I do feel bad for him. I truly do. But I can also see that there had to be a tipping point in which you realize, oh shit, life sucks. It's not going to get any better. I have options. I can escape this and start again, but he chose not to do that. So in that regard, there's also only so much empathy that I can extend to someone who chose to crash course their life to this point. And if other exes also don't want to reach out to you and, you know, see you at the end of your life, that kind of maybe holds a mirror up to how you have treated other people throughout your life, Ken. So much so that, you know, OP and OP's wife were very much like not comfortable with coming until a bunch more information was put out there. It sucks that a lot of these revelations come at the end of your life. But hey, maybe that's telling us to do some introspection on our own lives before we get to that point so that, this doesn't happen. Those are just my thoughts on the situation. I'm glad that OP did actually go through with it and at least get to give Ken some peace of mind before his passing. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update. Am I the asshole here for refusing to break up with my white girlfriend after my mother and sister demanded it? I, 20 male, introduced my girlfriend, 19 female, to my Arab family last week, and it was a disaster. For context, I've never had a great relationship with my mum or sister, 24 female. My mum is a girl mum who treats my sister like her best friend, while I was always treated like a burden. Growing up, my sister and her friends bullied me until I hit a growth spurt. My mum treated my sister's boyfriend better than she ever treated me. She once told one of them that he was better than me and wished I could be more like him. My sister almost exclusively dated white guys in college, and my mum actively encouraged it. She would say Arab men are uncultured, backwards, and have big noses, and tell my sister to find a nice boy with blue eyes and a small nose, while I was literally in the room. I have a stereotypical Arab nose and have always been insecure about it. But when I told her that this hurt, she said I was being too sensitive. I threw myself into sports and academics, got into my dream university, and met my girlfriend there. She's an Irish international student, and we clicked instantly. I'm even thinking about proposing eventually, so I wanted her to meet my family first. My dad seemed happy, but my mum and sister were ice cold. During dinner, my girlfriend offered to help with dishes, and my mum apparently told her nasty things while they were in the kitchen. That white people don't care about family, that Arab women are better, that my girlfriend might be after my dad's money, and even implied that she was promiscuous. My girlfriend came back and looked awfully quiet. I even asked her if everything was all right, and she said yes, and I didn't think too much about it. The next day, she called me in tears, saying she wasn't sure that our relationship could work because of my family. When I confronted my mum, she said that I need to consider the family's opinions and settle down with a nice Arab woman. When I protested, my sister started crying and yelling that I was hurting her feelings because Arab men hate their own kind. And now her little brother is no different. They both cornered me, demanding I break up with my girlfriend. My dad tried to help, but once my sister turned on the waterworks, he went to console her instead. I refused to end things with my girlfriend over this hypocrisy, but now my family is furious with me. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, not the asshole. And you can consider, then reject your family's, read your mum's, opinion on the grounds that she is openly racist. OP says, thank you. I am utterly confused here because this is the same woman who used to encourage my sister to only date white guys, and I even thought that in some fucked up racist way that she would be happy that I found a white girl. I don't even know why she's upset. My Mind Spoken says, don't even worry about it. If you love your girlfriend enough to propose, then do it. I'm sure your sister and mother are just upset that you're about to have the life that your sister was supposed to get. I'll be shocked if you tell me that she had a boyfriend right now. OP says, she probably does, but again, I've been away at uni and I'm not up to speed with everything in her life. She's the type of girl who always had a guy around, so she probably does. Glad Violinist says, it's because your mum is insecure of herself and feels beneath white women. OP says, well, I've never actually considered that. She's always been very confident, or rather boldly unpleasant, so it's hard to think of her being insecure about anything, or less than anyone. Stick with your girl, OP. She sounds great. Don't listen to your mum and sister. I see a double standard from your mum. Your sister is allowed to date white men, but you're not allowed to date white women. Not the arsehole. OP says, I will, but the double standard doesn't even make any sense to me. My girlfriend was hoping to have a great relationship with them, and it's such a shame that they won't let themselves find out what an amazing woman she is. Well, in that case, you don't need your family, OP. It sounds like you're pretty self-sufficient as you are. If this is the woman that you want to marry, You should be more than happy to cut your family off because they are never going to be accepting of her. You know it, I know it, Reddit knows it. Just pull the plug. Just put them in timeout and don't let them ever be close to you again. I mean, it is a pretty brutal thing to ask of you, of course, but if you were to look back on your deathbed and, you had listened to them and done what they had asked of you, would you not regret doing that? Would that not be a burning regret in the depths of your soul that you allowed their open racism, open double standards to cloud your judgment and force you into losing the love of your life? I'd regret that. I wouldn't let that happen personally. You're better off without them. So I hope you put yourself first and you put up boundaries, at least boundaries, between you, your girlfriend, and the rest of your family. And now, onto the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my original post. I wanted to give you all an update. After my showdown with my mum and sister, they still refused to back down. The whole house felt very ominous. There were attempts to guilt-trip me, claims that she's manipulated me and has me wrapped around her finger, the usual BS. My dad finally did step up, though. He told them to drop the issue and to not bother me about it since I won't be home for long and will soon go back to uni. So there's basically a truce about the topic of my girlfriend. I tried calling her back, but she wouldn't respond. She eventually texted me and asked how I was doing. We chatted and pretended like nothing happened for a few minutes, but I apologized later. I feel kind of stupid about this. I should have known that they would do something like this. I have no idea why I gave them the benefit of the doubt. It's honestly really disappointing because she wanted to stay with us at our house, and she was so excited to meet everyone. The plan was that she was going to spend Thanksgiving with us, and then I would fly out to Ireland with her to spend Christmas and New Year's with her family. But it's a shame that it all went down the way that it did. She asked me to come over to her hotel, which I did, and we had a long, honest conversation about everything. My family and our future. She was still upset, but I managed to make her laugh, which honestly isn't hard, and it's one of my favorite things about her, and we ended up making love and really reconnecting. We've agreed that I'm going low contact with my mum and sister. It's just them who have the problem anyway, but my dad genuinely likes her, and they got along great. He was really impressed when they talked about Arab literature and poets. She's a linguistics major with a history minor, so it's clear that this isn't about her not respecting our culture or our backgrounds. I asked if I could arrange some kind of intervention to make my mum and sister apologize, but she refused. She doesn't want to see or talk to them, and honestly, I can't blame her after what they put her through. At least she likes my dad. She's still staying at the hotel, and I can't even ask her to come stay with me after what my mum did. We're supposed to go back to uni after Thanksgiving, but she wants us to leave now. And honestly, I can't blame her. We joked that every good love story needs a few adversaries and obstacles to overcome. I won't be spending Thanksgiving with my family this time. It'll just be the two of us, which is actually not so bad. Maybe we'll find a place close to campus to crash. I think some of our friends live nearby, so there's always that possibility. As of now, I just want to let her heal and not rush things. After what happened with my folks, I don't know if it's the best idea to spend Christmas and New Year's with hers either. I've spoken with her sister before, who is cool, but I haven't spoken to her mum yet. My girlfriend just dropped a bombshell. She's vaguely mentioned to her mum that she's dating a Catholic guy in college, and her mum seemed happy about it, but she doesn't know that I'm Arab. She swears that her mum is chill, but after what just happened with my family, I'm worried that it's going to be a repeat from the other side. My mum's probably going to be pissed that I won't be home for Thanksgiving, or maybe she won't care. I don't know. One thing I've learnt is I clearly can't predict what this woman will or won't do, but this is the least that I can do for my girl, considering what my mum did to her. So yeah, my girlfriend and I are solid and committed to each other. In the comments, Jaded Toon says, "People like your mum won't take kindly to being told no or losing their punching bag. I suggest double-checking if you have everything important with you in case she retaliates. All your papers, accounts, and so on. Maybe try and meet your dad alone. OP says, I don't think they'll go that far, but there isn't anything important that I've left at home except for my passport and maybe some IDs. But I'm leaving tomorrow, so I'll take them with me. Nothing to worry about. Don't forget, you already gave them the benefit of the doubt once. Don't start giving them the benefit of the doubt on other shit. Not until they've proven through their actions, after years, would I start trusting their character. OP says, more than the fact that I don't think they go that far, it's that they can't really do much, to be honest. I'll just get my stuff and leave again tomorrow. Lock your credit. You left your ID there. I wouldn't put it past your mother to take some loans as restitution. OP says, well, I don't think she'll do that, but she doesn't know what I'm up to, lol. I'll be leaving early in the morning tomorrow, and I'll only be telling my dad. He can tell them why I left early. Welcome to adult life with a dysfunctional family kid. I came here to say two things. Before going to her family, make sure she tells them all that you are Arab so you don't have this same problem. Stop feeling self-conscious about your looks. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, and a lot of Arabic men are sexy as hell, and obviously your girlfriend thinks so too. Good luck. OP says, well, her sister knows that I'm Arab. I don't think I'm ugly or anything, like, I get compliments all the time, and I've done well dating-wise. I'm tall, 6'5", and I'm pretty athletic. So I'm aware that I'm at least moderately attractive, but again, when you're a kid and your mum's telling your sister to find guys with blue eyes and small noses, it's just hard not to take it personally. Even if I was a white guy, that would probably have given me a complex about not having blue eyes or blonde hair. But you're right though. I should probably ask her to tell my mum that I'm Arab, but again, we just calmed down after the shit show that we went through, so I'll give it some time. Maybe a week or so before I bring this up again. I'm not so sure if I have that much time. Her mum might buy tickets sooner, but we'll see. Yeah, in this situation, just get ahead of it, you know? There is the possibility that this does repeat. I don't think it will happen. I think the chances are low personally, and it's not worth worrying about. But if your girlfriend thinks that there's a possibility because she knows her mum better than anyone else, then, I don't know, man, listen to her and tell her that you're Arab, because why else would she have vaguely mentioned she's dating a Catholic, but not mentioned that they're Arab? Like, I understand you don't have to and you shouldn't have to, but now after this, I feel like it's a given. You've experienced race-based xenophobia and racism. It's time to judge mum's reaction, and we're not going to be judging that reaction when we see her in person, because why would we do that to ourselves? Why would you do that to yourself, OP? Ask yourself that question. Do you want history to repeat? I don't. I'm glad you're low contact with your family. Please continue to be. And if they ever truly want to be a part of your life in the same capacity again, make them earn it. Make them take years out of their life to earn it. Because what they both did to you there is egregious, and I don't think they can ever be trusted again. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update. My best friend says that my fiancé admitted feelings for her. He denies it. So I've been with my fiancé since I was 17, together for 10 years. And I've been best friends with my friend since we were 8. Generally, they've gotten on fine throughout that time, until a few years ago when my friend picked me up after a few drinks one night. I hadn't known that she was buzzed, and we got in a wreck. We were both fine, but he thinks that she's responsible, so he's just been very formal polite to her since then. When she comes to visit me, he goes into the other room to play video games or something. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago, she texted me and asked me to get lunch with her. I met up with her, and she tells me that my fiancé told her that he had feelings for her and wanted them to be together, but she told him no. I was obviously upset and asked when this happened, where, did he message her, can I see the message, etc. She immediately got really angry with me, accusing me of not believing her when we've been friends for so long. I asked that she at least tell me where and when this happened, even if there is no proof, and she refused, saying that if after all this time of friendship that I won't believe her, that I'm better off being with a dirty cheater, and stormed off before the food even got to the table. I went home to talk to my fiancé about it, really upset of course. He seemed genuinely confused about the accusation, or at least that's what I could tell, and asked when she's saying that this happened, since he's very rarely around her. The only time he ever sees her is if he walks through the living room to get food from the kitchen before going back to his office. And he's never been in the house with her alone. I admitted that she wouldn't tell me because she thinks that I should just believe her. I brought that up because he could have messaged her it, and he immediately handed me his phone and told me if looking through the phone would help, then go ahead. I went through the whole thing and honestly found nothing. They're not even friends on any social media. He doesn't have any weird extra texting apps, no contacts that are weird in his phone. He does have her number in his phone, but there's no messages to her or any calls to or from her. He's also been working from home. I do all of our shopping/running around, so only one of us has to go out. We have security cameras at our place, so her dropping by without the system giving my phone an alert that there was a person is unlikely. So unless he texted her and then immediately deleted it, so she'd have proof, I'd assume, he happened to run into her the 1 or 2 times that he's been out in the last year, or he raced out of his office to proclaim his love to her while I was in the bathroom, I have no clue where this could have happened. So I'm inclined to believe him. Seeing as we've been together for 10 years, I can't think of when this would have happened. And she won't tell me anything else. Our mutual friends are divided. Some saying that it's suspect she won't tell me anything, but others saying as her best friend, I should believe her because there's no reason for her to lie. Whereas my fiancé would have a reason to if he did it. I don't know what to believe at this point. My friend is still completely shut down on me. I called her trying to talk about it, but she told me not to contact her again unless I believe her, and then hung up on me. My fiancé has been completely open about everything. Part of me is wondering if she's lying because she knows he doesn't like her from what happened a few years ago and is trying to break us up. Then part of me is wondering if he really did text her that and that she is telling the truth and being difficult for no apparent reason. Any advice on how to handle this? In the comments, OP responds to a long comment regarding her best friend's behavior towards her fiancé after the accident and having no proof. OP says, "Oh god, that sounds awful. I can't say that she acts like me or anything, but since the accident, she's brought up him acting weird around her, mentioning how he always goes to the other room, barely talks to her, etc., when prior to the accident, he would go out with us. We would all watch movies together or anything else. She eventually picked up that he was mad at her and that he seemed bitter about it since. But I'd thought that she let it go since she was still going to be in the wedding and I still spend a lot of time with her. I hadn't put any thought into her possibly having any feelings for him. I thought at most she was mad at him for being mad at her over the accident. Prior to the accident, she got along well with him, told me that she thought he was a good guy. After the accident, she would mention him being grumpy, blaming her for no reason, not understanding that people make mistakes, etc., since he didn't just forgive her like I did. It really does sound like your friend made it up. It's obvious that in a situation like that, when she told you, you would have been shocked and wanted more information, and if she was telling the truth, she would have done all she could to absolutely make you certain about it, because a fiancé cheating is obviously a big deal. Also, what makes the story so improbable is that if he doesn't even like her character, they don't talk, nor do they have a good friendship, at most he could have wanted to have sex with her but not told her that he had feelings for her. Like what? When a boyfriend cheats, usually it's because of physical attraction that maybe if the cheating continues, can then develop into feelings. But I've only ever heard about a few specific cases like this. But it was when a guy confessed to her freaking best friend of 10 years, rather than some woman who got my girlfriend in an accident. OP replies, "Yeah, like honestly, if it happened prior to the accident, I think I would have been more likely to believe her, since we all hung out together, and they both said good things about each other. Since the accident, he's made it clear to me that he didn't even want to be around her, but tolerated her because I care about her. But part of me started questioning if he was only saying all that as some sort of cover because he has had feelings. But that feels like I'm just overthinking at this point." Another commenter says, "Just my thoughts on this, but if she was telling you the truth, she'd easily give you details. The fact that she got angry right away and insisted that you should believe her after giving you news that would have been a total shock to you is insane. To me, it sounds like she decided to lie when you went to question her. She panicked and got mad. If I had to lay a bet, she isn't giving details because it never happened. She probably knows that he doesn't leave the house. You would know if she was there. Texting would leave evidence, which she doesn't have, and she hasn't been in the house or room alone with him for longer than 40 seconds. OP says, honestly, that makes the most sense of this mess. I don't know why she would lie, really. Whether it's she had feelings for him that I never knew about, or is just mad at him for being mad at her, but I guess the reason why doesn't matter in how I should handle this. OP explains more about the car accident incident that caused the rift between her fiancé and her best friend. So we had planned that she would pick me up and I would spend the night at her place since we wanted to have a movie night / have a few drinks. And my fiancé and I only had the one car at the time. She showed up to pick me up and I got in the car knowing that she'd already had a couple of drinks before getting there. On the way back to her place, she suddenly veered off the road and smashed into a tree. Luckily, neither of us were badly hurt, but her car was totaled. People whose yard it was called the police, and some cars stopped to check on us. She was arrested for driving intoxicated, and the ambulance that showed up took me to the hospital to look over since I did have some cuts and the airbags had went off. So my fiancé had to come pick me up from the hospital in the middle of the night. And since then, he's made it clear that he doesn't want to be around her, thinks that she's irresponsible, and only tolerates her because I forgave her. He says he can't forgive her because she could have killed us both. She thinks he doesn't understand that people make mistakes and that it isn't fair to blame her for the whole thing since the road was slippery. And in the end, we were fine. This whole thing is just a big load of baloney from her. OP, I know that she's been your friend for a long time, but maybe consider slowly distancing yourself from someone like that. I don't think they're good for you at all. I don't think she should be in your life. I think you should phase her out and find new, better people to surround yourself with. Because this is all just a big bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. That's my honest-to-God read of the situation. You just need to get rid of her and move on with your life. And now, onto the update. Well, I woke up the morning after the post and hadn't expected that many responses. I sat and read them all, and it was pretty unanimous that she was lying for some reason. And if she wasn't lying, she was being a crap friend for how she went about this. Some comments also really made me realize how much shit my fiancé has had to go through because of her presence in my life. So I woke him up, and I told him that I believed him, and I apologized for letting this drag on like I did. I took the advice of someone and made a group chat minus the now ex-best friend and sent them the post and just asked that they read it. Most of them sort of waffled until one said, had she not known either of us, it would be obvious who was lying, and they all agreed that it was too suspect. One of them called me shortly after, asking me to meet up with her to talk, so I did. She's the one closest to the ex-best friend other than myself. She basically told me ex-best friend has been complaining about my fiancé for like half a year to her. About how he's still mad, how he must be trying to make me spend less time with her, that I'm going to marry someone that is actively trying to tear us apart as friends. She was able to show me some texts where ex-best friend was saying those sorts of things, and one of her in her maid of honor dress with a text saying, "My dress for the funeral of our friendship." Then leading up to now, where friend was asking her if it was true, and she was snapping at her too through texts to stop questioning her. And it doesn't matter if she is lying anyway. Friend said that she hadn't reached out to me prior because she thought after the wedding, ex-best friend would realize that it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. And then when all of this happened, she didn't think those texts were proof enough to show me and nuke our relationship. But the post made her feel bad for not showing me them. So she gave me some of the screenshots, and I went to ex-best friend's apartment myself to talk to her. She let me in, and I asked her if she had anything to tell me before we went any further. She doubled down that she refuses to give me details, repeating the same stuff. So I told her I knew she was lying and had proof she was. I showed her the screenshots that I had, which she accused other friend of photoshopping to make her look bad. Once I told her that I read them in person off of friend's phone, she started going on about how everyone is trying to tear up our friendship after the accident and how it isn't fair on her. I told her that maybe if she apologized and tried to make changes in her life, instead of insisting for years that it's not her fault and then coming up with this lie, maybe none of that would have happened. I told her that even had she been telling the truth, the way that she chose to tell me and make this some shitty loyalty test, instead of her telling me some of the most devastating news of my life, shows me that she isn't a good friend to me. I forgave the accident because I cared for her and took it as a mistake, but obviously that care doesn't go both ways. I told her not to contact me again, and that I told friend group of everything going on, sent them the screenshots, and that they can make their own decisions on who they do and don't want to spend time with based on the information they have. But I won't be seeing her again. I will be blocking her on everything, and to not attempt to fix this because it's unforgivable. I still feel mentally and emotionally drained from all of this, but there's also a massive weight lifted off of my shoulders. As for the wedding, instead of choosing another friend in this group, I asked my fiancé's little sister to be my maid of honor, and she's very excited. Fiancé is also relieved that he doesn't have to deal with ex-best friend anymore, and says he's just happy that it's all settled. As for the rest of my friends, the one that showed me the texts, I'm not going to stay in contact with her either, since she hid all of this and only showed me out of guilt. The others, I guess I'll see how it goes. Edit, about the friend who told me. Maybe in time I can move past this, but right now, I can't really look at her. It's not just that she didn't tell me right away, I just feel uncomfortable. I would spend time with the two of them a lot, and to know that there was conversations about my fiancé, the wedding, the relationship, and our friendship going on between them like that, yeah. The maid of honor dress photo, I'm literally next to her in the picture. She knew best friend had these feelings so strongly, was my maid of honor, and essentially hated my partner at this point, and then when best friend told the whole friend group that this situation, and they all came at me about not believing her, and having to explain my side, and only half of them listened to me, she was one of the ones that said that I should listen to best friend, when she knew all of the stuff that she had been saying, and essentially confessing to her that it was a lie. She didn't do anything herself, but she watched it all happen until she felt too guilty. And right now, that just hurts, and I'm not sure that I want her in my life. In the comments, I get why you feel the way you do. I've been where you are right now, but whatever you do, do not shoot the messenger. Could she have reached out sooner? Yes, of course. But when she realized how serious this situation actually was, she reached out to you. It must have been one of the hardest things that she ever had to do, because she knew that her aground would have a very serious impact on two of her friends and their continuing relationship. Ultimately, she showed you where her loyalty lay, with you and doing the right thing. By all means, take some time and distance to think about things, but don't go cutting people off just yet. You are, of course, hurt by your ex-best friend and her actions, but try not to take that pain out on other friends. Take some time, hang out with your guy, watch some movies, and then in a few days, reevaluate where things stand. OP replies, I made a comment about this a little higher up, but essentially right now, I'm just too hurt by it all to really look at her. That she knew the feelings best friend was having, knew this happened, and was one of the friends in the text group originally that said that I should listen to best friend. Right now, I just feel like she didn't tell me until she felt guilty, and that hurts. I'm glad she told me, and it did help. She had to do something tough to even tell me, but it hurt. Maybe in time. You're right, I need at least a few days to really take all this in. Another commenter asks, what did ex-bestie say when confronted with the irrefutable truth? Did she admit to lying or try to continue the charade? OP says, she admitted it once I told her I saw the messages on other friends' phone directly, and then tried to blame the reason for her doing it on people trying to wreck our friendship. Another commenter says, think about how difficult it must be to be the friend that showed you. I mean, it happens often that doing the right thing can backfire, and it's a tough decision to make to end a friendship. Tough situation, I get it, but at the end of the day, she should have told you much earlier. I don't blame you for wanting to put distance between yourself and that friend, because what she did caused a lot of heartache by her inaction. She had the ability to cut this off way sooner. If she had a backbone, if she had a spine, she would have told you as soon as this quote-unquote best friend of yours started running her mouth like that. Definitely cut that ex-best friend out of your life completely and go very low contact with this messenger. What she did was the correct thing, but it came too late. I know there's a don't shoot the messenger thing, but I think the messenger also deserves consequences in this situation. These people don't sound good for you, OP. Good luck going forward. Those are not friends that I would keep in my life personally, but you do you. Our next post is by user OKMolasses, and it's titled, "Wife fed me a little white lie, and I don't know how to react." I need to set the stage a bit for this one, so thanks to all that stick it out and offer to help. My wife and I have been married for 7 years and together for 10. We are both avid motorcyclists and spend quite a bit of time riding, although often separately. She prefers to go out riding late at night on the weekends, and for a while, got in the habit of not checking in with me. I imagine any husband whose wife is out on a bike at midnight would worry and has every right to ask where she might be. We got into a lot of fights about this, and it seemed very difficult for her to want to keep her whereabouts known. She claimed I was smothering her and being excessively needy by having to know where she was all the time. We worked through it, but I was never really content with how she begrudgingly followed suit, like it was some kind of a chore to keep me posted about where she was and when she might be home. I brought this up in therapy, and even our therapist raised her eyebrow at the late-night rides with no check-in. Still, my wife never seemed to see the problem. Fast forward to a few weekends ago, my wife was out riding and it was getting late again. I sent her a message asking if she was getting dinner while she was out. She responded with a simple, "Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, love heart emoji." I was kind of hoping that she'd give me a little more detail as it was getting dark out. Some time passed, and I responded by saying, "Sweet. I'm gonna be home for the night. What you up to?" I didn't get a reply, so I followed up with, "I really dislike when you don't care to tell me what you're doing out on a Friday night." Maybe this was a little forward of me, but she knows how frustrated I get in this situation that we've dealt with so many times in the past. This made her very upset, and we ended up text arguing. She then gave me a TTYL and said that she was going to keep riding her bike. Naturally, I kept texting. After a few messages, she responded by saying, "I'm trying to drive my damn bike, and you're blowing up my phone with this, which is uncalled for. I don't breathe down your neck asking your every move and respect and trust you, so please do the same. It's exhausting." I had a hunch she was not riding. Maybe what I did next was uncalled for, but I drove over to her favorite late-night eatery/bar and walked inside. She was sitting at the bar. Her bike was parked outside, and I put my hand on the exhaust. It was cold. Less than 10 minutes had passed since she told me that she had to slam on the brakes to respond to my messages. There just was no way an exhaust can cool down that quick. Once again, maybe I crossed the line here, but I felt severely betrayed. I went home not long after I sent a quick message that I knew where she was. We argued about this big time. We made amends, and she told me that she would be better about checking in with me in the future. That's not the white lie though, but simply a precursor. Up next is the real issue that I am dealing with. This past weekend, she was out at a local cafe/bar doing some work. She was being really good about checking in with me, but it kind of festered out as the night progressed. She told me that she was going over to her office to finish off some work, and that was the last that I heard of her. I was heading home for the night after a late gym sesh and called her to check in. She did not answer after the first call and called me back a few minutes later. While we were chatting, I could hear others in the background. She was talking kind of weird. After a minute or so, she told me that she was getting a call and had to pick it up right away. I kind of understood as the importance of that call was something that affected the both of us. We're in the process of buying a new home, and the seller's agent was calling. I was expecting a call back with some news, but the call was never returned. An hour had passed, so I called her back to see what she had learned about our offer. She didn't answer, but responded with a text, "Call you in a few." When she called back, I could tell that she was in her car. She started telling me about all the stuff she had learned and how long of a conversation it was. How she also called our lender to check some numbers. It really didn't add up, and I was sensing some plot holes. I asked, "Where were you when I called?" She said, "Well, I'm driving now." I pulled over to talk to the seller's agent. I said, "If you pulled over to talk to him, why could I hear people in the background when I called you?" She didn't have an answer, and I let it slide. It felt so off. When I saw her later that night, I told her that I just want to be able to feel like she can tell me the truth. I was hoping that she would come clean, but it never happened. Now to today. I checked our phone records because I just couldn't shake the events that evening. Not at all to my surprise, she had lied to me. After my call to her, there were no other calls. She had pretended that someone was calling to get off the phone with me. When I confronted her, she said that she was hanging out with friends and just wanted to enjoy herself, and it was easier to just lie so that she wouldn't have to face my reaction. I was so hurt at this lie. She's not great with apologies and slapped together an "I'm sorry I lied to you." The problem I face is that there is always a follow-up. She told me that she feels the need to lie because I'm insecure. I also need to trust her more, and it always feels like I never give her room to breathe. I need to work on myself more and be more confident and trusting. It all seemed like justifying her lie. Like somehow it was my fault. It was not a great conversation, and neither of us was getting any point across. All I know is that I feel betrayed yet again, and I don't know how I can trust her. I also feel terrible that she couldn't simply admit that she was wrong and follow up by making it about my insecurities. Am I wrong here? I genuinely don't know what to do. We haven't talked since, and I could use some advice. Thank you to all who sat through this one. In the comments, put on location tracking. She just honestly says at the start what she's gonna do and when she'll be back, and only text when she deviates from it. That way, there is no need to keep communication going, which I understand can be smothering for her, and you know where she is at all times. You both seem to have an issue, and both don't listen to each other and fixate on their own. Search for a solution for both issues together as a team. Like the one that I mentioned, perhaps. OP replies, "I appreciate this suggestion. I recommended the location tracker previously, only when she's out late riding. She did not like the suggestion, and it never ended up happening." Another commenter says, "I would bet my paycheck that she has a boyfriend. I would not buy a new house with your future ex-wife. You are being taken for a ride. Put a GPS tracker on her bike, and you will see. You should have walked into the bar and saw what's up." OP says, "So I did actually walk into the bar. She appeared to be sitting there alone. I didn't hang around long, though. The thought of a GPS tracker has crossed my mind, but I've never followed through with it." Another commenter says, "You are right to feel betrayed. Your wife is repeatedly lying to you, very likely far more than you're aware. You are quite right not to trust her. She has proven herself untrustworthy. You must also know that there is a considerable chance that she is having an affair. The fact that she is not truly apologetic and trying to make it about you would be the final nail in the coffin for me. It's hard for us to judge. Maybe you are insecure. But at the least, she's given you plenty of good reason for that insecurity. Given the lack of remorse, it is hard to see how trust can ever be rebuilt. Do you have kids? If not, I would be out of there immediately." And OP says, "Thanks for your insight. No kids." Another commenter asks, "What does better communication look like to you? How often would you want her to text you while out? Are you looking for firm plans established before she goes out? Constant play-by-plays of what's going on? Just curious what ideal communication would look like here for you." OP says, "Honestly, one sincere and complete message of what she is up to would suffice. I.e., hey husband, I'm gonna be here with these people. I'll be home around midnight. I'll let you know if anything changes." It never seems to be this direct. Often it's snippets of plans and then silence. Then I check in and she gets upset. I think it's coming across as me nickel and diming, but really, I'm just trying to put together the fragments of information. Back up to the post, there's an edit. So a few weeks have passed since I wrote this, and I wanted to offer an update for those who requested one. To cut to the chase, we are getting a divorce. Honestly, experiencing this gamut of emotions has been excruciating to say the least. I wish this on no one. When I was fielding your much-needed replies, I was staying at an Airbnb to give us time away from one another. She was livid at first, but she quickly realized the importance of time away. I myself had plenty of time to reflect on many of the responses here and spent all my free time journaling to work out my thoughts. I returned home after a week and we had our heart-to-heart. Much to my surprise, we both came forward equally with the proposition to separate. Now, I don't believe she was cheating, and I don't think it's a substance dependency. These were suggestions that seemed to percolate to the top of this thread. Perhaps I am naive as well, but at this point, it no longer matters. Regardless, what we have here is a textbook case of two people who aren't right for one another. We have fought hard to save our marriage over the years, and quite honestly, the feeling of failure is the hardest part to cope with. Beautiful memories of our early time together surface in waves and manifest as tears. Her and I have grieved this loss at different times and in different ways. There will always be the doubt and questioning of, could we have made it work? Hopefully the years will reduce the doubt to a whisper. In conclusion, we are both amicable at this phase and hope to continue a friendship into the future. That is, a friendship not carried over from a previous marriage, but one rebuilt from scratch. In some ways, I can sense our relationship already healing and improving. I hope this may be a predictor of the future. I am about to close on my own home soon. There is a subtle undertone of fear in the loneliness ahead, but I can see that quickly becoming eclipsed by the opportunity to rebuild myself. I look forward to the journey in growing and learning to love who I am as an individual. I wish her the best as well. Thank you to everyone whose insight helped me work through such a difficult time. OP. I guess there's not too much that I can really say about that one, but there is a further update to this situation, so I am going to hold my tongue. I don't think it's a repeat of that edit. I think it goes over more of what is happening and more of what had happened in that update. To me, this is very much a situation of, there is a problem, we have worked through it, you continue to lie, and you continue to dismantle all the work that both of us have worked hard to build up in these couples counseling sessions. I feel for OP. I know that he has done wrong in the situation as well, but I really feel like she has done so much more wrong. She's the one instigating. She's the one continuously lying. I feel very much hard-pressed to say that OP has done anything wrong in this situation, but OP himself says that he has done wrong and he recognizes that, so I will take him at his word. But when she continuously lies about everything and there are constant plot holes when she's out of the house, how can you trust someone like that? How can you ever feel secure in your relationship with this person? They don't want to spend time with you by the sounds of it, and they don't want to tell you what they're up to in a genuine capacity. They just continuously lie. Like, a relationship and a marriage is built on trust. If there is no trust, there is no relationship. I don't blame OP at all for breaking it off with her. Anyway, let's see what the update says. And now, on to the update. Wife fed me a little white lie, and now we're getting a divorce. Found a box of used condoms in her trash today. Hello all. I wanted to offer one last update on this saga that is my failed marriage. We both amicably decided to separate, so I thought. Admittedly, it was a healthy choice for the both of us, and from what I just experienced, I'm only more confident moving forward and finding my peace. In short, I've always been the consistent income. Her industry is seasonally dependent, and as much as I wanted to just leave, I knew I couldn't just ditch her to figure out survival on her own. Initially, she had suggested that we separate, but live under the same roof until next May. This would have given her the safety and confidence to push into her busy summer months. Of course, I said hell no, as I felt that was a crazy suggestion. For one, there is absolutely no way that wouldn't further poison our already toxic relationship. Second, I really saw the need to break away so that I could heal and rebuild my life, which had effectively been decimated. I decided to buy my own house, but I offered to stick around financially until she could earn the funds that she needed to start her new life. We had been cordial for the week or so that I finally closed and was settling in. Dare I say, becoming friends. My new house was barren, and I quite literally celebrated the purchase of a new couch. As a side, you really don't appreciate a comfortable place to sit after a long day of work until all you have is a wooden bar stool and a worn-out rug from your old home. We had continued to show each other little acts of good faith, but after a few days, communication went dark. To be expected, I guess. I was loving the serenity of my new home and was beginning to experience a love for myself that I haven't felt in years. Honestly, not having to talk with her brought a sense of relief. One item that I wanted to be sure was made right was a water heater leak at her house, my old house, which I still own. I noticed when I moved out. I called a plumbing company to take care of it, as I have a busy work schedule. Admittedly, it breaks my heart to even enter that home, and I was just as much avoiding that. Sadly, the plumbers cancelled twice, and I was getting impatient. I figured that I would just handle it. I let her know that I would be dropping in, and she was more than okay with it. I'm a decent plumber, and I knew that it would be quick work. I arrived on site and diagnosed a pinhole leak. I drained the lines, cut the damaged section, and whipped together the repair. Voila! Her trash can was in the garage, and naturally, I needed a place to toss the wreckage of my plumbing job. When I opened the lid, what do I see? A whole-ass box of used condoms. I was shocked, my heart sank. I had been out of that house barely a week, still legally married, and here I am fixing her house and offering the financial support that she needed to move on. I knew that in my gut that I no longer wanted to be a part of this. I needed to be free of this misery. I texted her a photo of the water heater with a "good as new. If you wouldn't mind, just keep an eye on it for the next day or so." She eventually texted back a thank you. I told her to call me tomorrow so that we could chat. My heart was racing for hours. I had felt some insane lows this past month, but this was the absolute worst. I wasn't ready to talk to her. I needed food. I was spent. Well, she called. She has a real anxiety about call me kind of texts. In a way, I knew this, but I genuinely needed the night to sleep and collect myself. Phone rings, and guess we're doing this, I told myself. I started the conversation by letting her know the water heater is good to go, but she may want to have a professional take a look within the year. Followed by, the next part of this conversation will be difficult. I did not directly tell her that I knew that she was already hooking up with someone new. I only saw my own destruction in making it my business or even thinking of it. All I said was, I know you've moved on, and I know how you've chosen to do so. I then told her that I was removing myself from all shared accounts, and she will need to figure it out from here. Boy, was she livid. What was that term that you guys taught me in the first post? Darvo? Yeah. Lots of that. Tons of gaslighting, followed by name-calling and accusations. She even insulted my character, telling me that she thought that I took pride in being a person of honor and respect. What? She kept alluding to how she thought that we had agreed to being allowed to have our needs met, quote-unquote. I didn't say it outright, but I really think that she had twisted what an actual need is. How about financial security? How about a soft landing with your husband of 10 years that you claimed to want to remain friends with? So why am I writing this? A couple of reasons. For one, it's the end of my tale. This is the worst I will ever feel about this. It's only healing and growing from here. Second, a lot of Redditors believe that she was cheating in my last post. I didn't have any reason to believe this, but after how quickly she jumped on some dick immediately after me moving out, maybe y'all weren't far off. Third, kind of to vent, I guess, I also had to put down my cat with cancer hours ago. My God, what a day. Either way, I am so glad to leave that toxic mess behind. I want so desperately to believe that I'm making the right call to cut all ties. But I wonder, did she owe it to me to try and put off her urges until we split finances? I'd be curious to hear others' thoughts. I hope to learn and gain from any and all input. Needless to say, this will be my last post for the foreseeable future. Thank you all for your insight as I have pushed through my story. In the comments, quote, a whole-ass box of used condoms, I was shocked, my heart sank. I had been out of that house barely a week, still legally married. Brother, I know it stings right now, but if she is this quick to physically move on from you, then you need to do yourself a favor and emotionally move on. That also means emotionally cutting her off, and cutting her off from everything else, financially et al. It would also indicate that she probably had someone already lined up before the divorce. Maybe even before, possibly. All speculation, but boy is that a quick turnaround time. Figure out the house, figure out the divorce. Only talk to her about those things, and for the divorce, do it through your lawyer as much as possible, without charging you. Move on. OP replies, all of this. I spent so many years being gaslit, and I feel like I can finally see through it all. I really wish I could ask if this was someone that she had been with, or if it was just some kind of a fling. The question alone would only cause more suffering, and knowing her, it would be an answer that couldn't be trusted anyway. Someone says OP needs to get therapy. OP replies, therapy is 100% in my future. My reality has been so distorted by this woman. When asked, has OP been able to find proof regarding his wife's possible infidelity? He says, I've tried so hard to find proof, but I never could. After a while, I just started worrying that I was grasping for straws. I may never know at this point. It would be poison to continue seeking answers. Another commenter says, some people use condoms on the toys that they use solo. OP says, this may be true, but she admitted to having already moved on with another man to have her needs met. And OP, on splitting the properties from the divorce, says, we agreed to quitclaim our respective properties. The house she will be keeping has a ton of equity built up. If our assets get split 50-50, I will end up better than our current arrangement. I understand why OP is so upset from finding the box of condoms, and I think this is a sign to distance yourself emotionally as much as possible, as fast as possible, because holding on to that after she's already done you so wrong will not do you any good, OP. Take the advice of the comments going forward and just keep everything through the lawyers. Who cares if she is financially fucked by you doing that? She doesn't deserve your good graces after everything that she has put you through. I don't care about her. I don't think you should care about her. I know that's much easier said than done, but please, God, protect yourself. Yet again, another situation where someone is in a financially precarious situation and decides to stab themselves in the foot, knowing that they are the ones that are fucked if everything comes crashing down. Yet for some reason, the person in the financially vulnerable situation decides to do this. I don't understand why this keeps happening. I'm fascinated by it, but OP, please stop falling for her manipulation and just get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Thank you for the story. Thank you for the update. Good luck going forward. Am I the asshole for stepping in to do mum things for my niece because my sister-in-law is disabled? I have a niece, Gigi, 10, who is the daughter of my brother Chris and his wife Anna. Anna became disabled when Gigi was 4. It was triggered by an infection, and ever since, she's been mostly using a wheelchair. Obviously, this has been hard on their family. Anna was the center of their home, even though she had a demanding job. She had to quit her job, which is tough on their finances, and she's no longer able to be involved with Gigi's school and extracurricular activities due to her fatigue and accessibility issues. I help as much as I can. School pickup, and driving her to dance practice, going to school events if Chris can't take it, such as chaperoning field trips. My husband and I even took Gigi to Disneyland with us over the summer. I only do what I'm asked to do, and within the boundaries of what I have time to do, as I have my own child. Just whatever I can do to make things easier for their family and for Gigi so she doesn't miss out. Gigi's school is organizing a Christmas market. She and her friends volunteered to do a booth, which basically means the parents. She asked me to be a part of it because Chris is really busy with work around the holiday period. I confirmed with Chris that this was the case, and he was really enthusiastic about me doing it because it involves crafts, which he doesn't have time for. He's helping construct the physical booth, though. So I got my daughter involved, and Gigi and her friends came over to my house to make stuff for the booth all together. We're even making costumes. I thought I was doing a good thing, and Gigi seemed so excited. But on Friday, Anna called me and chewed me out. Apparently, she was never okay with me being involved with the booth. She said Chris building it was enough, and I should have just stayed out of it. I said that Gigi asked me because they needed adults to help out on the day, but Anna said that she was sick of me taking over all of the mum stuff, and that Gigi needed to learn that if her parents couldn't make it that day, then that's just the way that it is. She can't just replace Anna with me. I told her that that seems unfair to Gigi, to not be able to do things just because one of her parents isn't able to be there. There has been times that I've taken Gigi to birthday parties that need supervision at places like trampoline parks, or taken her to dance competitions where she just didn't want to be the only one there without a female adult to help her change or do her hair and makeup. If I hadn't done those things, Gigi probably would have missed out. Anna said, well, that was Gigi's reality, and she can't just ignore the fact that Anna is her mother and that this is the family that she was born into, not mine. I ended up telling Anna that I never meant to disrespect her, but that I made a commitment to Gigi and to the other parents, so I'm going to do the booth. But after that, if she and Chris want me to step back, then I will. Honestly, I'm really upset about the whole thing. I have my own child. It's not like I'm trying to play mum to Gigi. I just want her to feel supported and not to miss out on anything. Chris does his best, but he works crazy hours to support Anna and Gigi. I thought that it was a good thing that they had a village to help out, as Anna's family isn't local. I thought since Gigi would come to me for these things that we were doing right by her. It seems so unfair that she should not have the same experiences as her friends because of something out of everyone's control. But I'm not her parent, and Anna is. And if Anna doesn't mind Gigi missing out, then maybe that's not my business. My own mum thinks Anna is being unfair to Gigi with this request, but my mum was the super involved type, and I know that there are tons of kids whose parents don't make it to everything. So maybe we're just an overbearing type, and I went too far. Am I the asshole? Edit. Because I see this coming up a lot. The reason the craft session was at my house is because one of the girls was supposed to host it, but the house is too small for all of the girls to be taking over the living room. The mum also has another child and was worried about supervising all the kids the whole day. She messaged me privately and asked if I had the space and time to host, and I did. Anna and Chris's place doesn't really have the space in the common area to accommodate the craft making, and I know how stressed Chris is by the playdates and probably wouldn't have wanted it at their house. I thought I was helping out that mum by saying yes. I say yes to most things, not because I'm trying to push anyone out or take over, but I guess being a stay-at-home mum to one kid, I feel like it's only fair that I should take on a bit of extra kid stuff for other parents where I can. Edit 2. For anyone asking about Anna being driven to things, driving Anna would mean that I would need Chris's car, which he needs for work, because he needs to haul stuff around. We can't swap cars because mine can't be used for that stuff. So for me to drive Anna and Chris's car, Chris needs to also not be busy, in which case he wouldn't need help. Chris does drive Anna to dance recitals and sports activities when he is available. In the comments, OK Pound Cake asks, question: what efforts have been made to make Anna's life more wheelchair-friendly? People in wheelchairs can drive cars if the car is modified. They can use ramps, learn how to navigate low and small numbers of stairs. A wheelchair does not mean that you are homebound. Is the family taking this approach to her new health status? If she isn't paralyzed in her upper body, she may have been able to help craft. What efforts are made to include Anna when you step in? Even if she has fatigue, she may be able to be present in some instances with a little assistance. Sounds like you just cut her out with a "I've got this" approach. It seems like y'all, you and your brother, seem to think that stepping in is help, when maybe creative and collaborative efforts would yield the village approach that you say you were trying to achieve. Edit, soft you're the asshole, because this has to be hard on everyone. OP says, their home is fully adapted. Due to certain medication that Anna is on, it's not recommended that she drive. Most of the stepping in is driving, and like I said, chaperoning stuff like ice skating or trampoline parties, etc. When Chris calls normally, he just says, "Can you do X?" and I either can or can't. I look at it like I'm taking things off of his plate and making sure that Gigi is getting where she needs to go and not feeling left out. But from what Anna said, it seems like she'd rather none of that happened. Awkward Unicorn asks, why don't you drive Anna as well? Surely she can watch from the sidelines at ice skating. It seems like you guys are going all out to help Gigi, but no one has considered how to help Gigi by helping Anna be there. OP says, driving Anna would mean that I would need Chris's car, which he needs for work because he needs to haul stuff around. We can't swap cars because mine can't be used for that stuff. So for me to drive Anna in Chris's car, Chris needs to also not be busy, in which case he wouldn't need help. Pollywoggle says, not the arsehole. Have you spoken to Chris? If not, please do so. Your sister-in-law is disabled, and with that must come the guilt, where she admits it or not, for not being able to do these things with her daughter. I can understand her saying what she did, out of frustration and guilt, not because she really feels like you've taken over. It must be hard wanting to do these things and not being able to. Is there any way that your sister-in-law can still be involved, even if it's only in the tiniest way? I feel that you should be running everything by her and asking if she wants your help. She still is her parent. It's amazing that you step up and help your niece. Maybe there needs to be some better communication. OP says, I have spoken to Chris. He says he ran all of this past Anna and he's confused and upset by what she said. Ultimately, I know he's going to feel a massive strain if I stop helping out, so I think that's what he's most worried about. And I assumed that when I was talking to Chris that he was relaying everything to Anna because they're married. My husband wouldn't not tell me what's going on with our child. I assumed Chris was communicating. In that case, then, no, you're not the arsehole for stepping in to do these mum things for your niece. Everything was going as perfectly as it could, by the sounds of it. This was the ideal setup. And there is something wrong with Anna in which she feels the need to cut this off, which will only hurt Gigi. I hope that in this update that there can be some reconciliation here, but seriously, I understand where Anna's emotions are coming from, but I think this is not on. I think her throwing a bit of a temper tantrum, if I'm being honest here, and saying, no, fuck you should stop trying to take over my mum things. Even though there is no alternative, I don't see an alternative to this situation. This tantrum is unacceptable from her. If there is an alternative in which they can get a separate car, in which OP can then help Anna and Gigi drive to places with both of them, then that makes sense. But the way that Anna is going about this situation is completely unacceptable. I empathize with her, absolutely, but she's an asshole to her daughter for potentially shutting down this lifeline that OP is giving them. And now, onto the update. Hi. A lot of people asked for an update, and so many people were really kind and helpful, so I thought that I would provide one. Chris and Anna came over the weekend to discuss everything. Just for any avoidance of doubt, Chris always made Anna aware of what I was doing with Gigi, and Anna has confirmed this when we met. A lot of people thought maybe Chris was not relaying the information to her, but that is not the case. Obviously, the first topic was what prompted Anna to contact me. It turns out that there's a myriad of things that led to it. First, a few weeks ago, she read Gigi's journal while she was using her tablet and was hurt by what she read. I'm not going to be sharing what Gigi said out of respect for her privacy, but it's what you'd imagine a kid in her situation would say. Just obviously sucks for a parent to read. Anna says that she's been continuing to check Gigi's journal as a way to connect with her because since the school year, Gigi has been busy with schoolwork and extracurriculars and is not home/engaging a lot when she is. She knows this is wrong and has stopped doing it now. But she and Chris agreed that they're going to make sure that Gigi's school counselor is aware that she might be struggling a bit more than she lets on. Second, Anna recently connected with a woman through an online community who said she doesn't let her kids participate in anything that is not completely accessible for her. Anna says she has tried to soft launch this concept with Chris, but Chris said he never understood the full scope of what she was suggesting, and Anna felt like he wasn't taking her seriously, which is why she decided to go straight to the source, aka me. The third part of this is that Anna has been wanting to move closer to her family. Chris has shut this down as they can't afford a move. It'll be tougher for him to find work out there. The education is not good statistically, Gigi is comfortable here, and Anna's home country, let's just say, doesn't offer a very diverse cultural or political experience. It's also very rural. Chris also cited a lack of support system there, Because while Anna has family, they all have large families of their own and are not financially stable, and he worries about relying on them. This reasoning especially hurt Anna's feelings, which is what caused her to lash out at me, whom she saw as the main reason that Chris didn't want to move. Although that's not the case. From the discussion, it seems that Anna and Chris are really at an impasse about the move, and Anna said that she's considered moving on her own. Anna went on to say that I'm not who she had picked for a female role model for her daughter, to which I said I'm not trying to be one. I'm just trying to make sure that Gigi doesn't miss out on important childhood experiences. But I reiterated that I'm not going to force my help on them if it's not a 2-yes situation, because I wouldn't want any of my in-laws to do that. Chris and Anna strongly disagree on this issue, and it was just devolving into an argument that I think they should have in private, so until they settle that, I've decided to help with driving only, no extra activities. And I'm also going to try and help with non-Gigi stuff, so that it might free Chris up a little to do more things. I'm going to take over grocery shopping and hopefully talk Chris into at least letting me out some money towards the cost, and I've asked an accountant of mine to get in contact with Chris so she can maybe do an audit of their finances and see where they can move things around to lighten the load. Maybe not, but it's worth a shot. My husband and I are thinking of getting Chris a gas card for Christmas to help with expenses. If anyone has any ideas of how to help without being overbearing, I'm open to suggestions. So for now, I think it's best that I do step back on extra activities with Gigi. I'm not here to cause issues in anyone's marriage, and I do think of parenting as a 2-yes, 1-no thing for the most part. Fundamentally, I think a lot of you are right. This has ended up being more about Chris and Anna's marriage than anything to do with me. There's more going on there that I won't share because it's not really relevant and is private between them, but they need to work it out. And I'm definitely not going to insert myself by going off Chris's preferences when I know one parent isn't okay with it. This is a very complex situation, and I really just want the best for everyone, contrary to some people's belief. So I'm just going to focus on the ways that I can make an impact. I feel bad that Gigi might be hurt that I'm less active in the new year, but I'm also hopeful that Chris and Anna will use the Christmas break to really talk and figure out a path forward. If I've missed anything, please let me know. But otherwise, thank you to everyone who commented, and especially to disabled parents who shared their perspective with me. Edit, just to be clear, I'm not totally stepping out of Gigi's life. I'm still going to do drop-offs and pickups from extracurriculars in school and friends' houses. When I say step back, I'm talking about not doing dance mum duty or hosting playdates. I'm hoping that easing Chris's burdens will free him up to take over that stuff so that Gigi isn't disadvantaged. In the comments, Spoonie on Wheels says, I'm a disabled mum, and I can't imagine restricting my daughter's activities to only ones that I can join in with. I do my best to join in with what I can, but I'm really grateful to the friends and family that we have that are able to take her to the things that I can't. You are probably right to take a step back with everything that's going on, but I feel so sad for Gigi, as she's the one who's going to be missing out. It's like a parent not letting the kids do extracurriculars because they're busy at work. Just because a parent isn't able to be with their child doesn't mean that they should prevent the child from having these experiences. If every mum that doesn't like sports told their kids, I don't like sports, so you can't play, most schools wouldn't have teams. This is a hard read for me. My mother is disabled, and it has changed what she can do, and what we can do as a family, but she would never put limits on me. I am an adult with my own grown-up kids now, or prevent me from having experiences just because she can't do things. I understand that Anna is sad and limited, and the world is not set up well for disabled people, and it's awful. I feel for her. But to limit your own child's life deliberately is so wrong. I applaud you for allowing Gigi to have other experiences, and honestly, it's normal for aunts and grandmas to do things with their family members when mothers can't. Let's face it, not everyone has the time nor the inclination to be a glitter crafting with a bunch of preteens. For me, hearing all of the explanations as to why this occurred only made Anna seem worse in my point of view. This all seems inherently selfish, if I'm going to be honest. I get that she really doesn't want to be in this position and wishes her life weren't the way that it was, and that she was closer to her family and that she had that support system there, but that's just not her reality. and she is choosing to inflict pain on OP and pain on Gigi as a result of the breakdown of her marriage. At this point, I'd say, Anna, go take a time out for a bit and work on yourself. Everything that you are wanting to do only serves to hurt Gigi and only serves to hurt everyone around you. Her child's wants and needs are more important than her wants. And with the way that she has been handling this, and the way that this sprung up in the first place with her reading through Gigi's private journals, continuously doing that, recognizing that it was wrong for her to do that, and still taking that negative emotion out on her husband and then taking it out on OP, when she knows damn well that she was in the wrong for doing this? No, that wasn't kind. That wasn't nice of her to do that. I hope she can resolve this one, OP, but yeah, I don't see this changing anytime soon. Your approach to this situation, stepping off the gas a bit, just helping out where you can to lighten the husband's load, that is admirable. I like that a lot. Please keep helping in any capacity that you can. This will always be about the well-being of Gigi, and she is not being put first by Anna, that's for sure. Our next post is by user Medium Vehicle 8340, titled, Am I the arsehole here for giving my stepdaughter a reality check? So me and my husband are in our late 30s and early 40s. He has a kid from a previous relationship who I will call Abby. She is 16 and pregnant. From my understanding of the whole situation, it's her boyfriend who is 18 and in college and is refusing to answer her calls. She wants to keep the baby, but thinks that everyone is going to bend over backwards for her to do so. Everyone has told her multiple times that they aren't going to help her and that she will be on her own. Abby and I have a decent relationship. I met her 3 years ago when she was 14, and we have a civil relationship. She has a mum, so I'm just dad's wife to her mainly. Recently, she's been getting closer to me and trying to talk to me more, which was weird because normally when she does that, that means that she wants something. After around a week, she got tired and told me what she wanted. She wants me to watch her kid during the day while she's in school. I told her no, as I have my own 2 kids that I have to watch. Twins. She got upset and said she doesn't understand why when I have my kid, people offered to help and did things for me, and now that she's pregnant, no one wants to help her and is making her do everything herself. I explained to her that my kids were rainbow babies, and a lot of people we knew struggled with fertility, and that me and her dad are adults, and we had a plan, money, and a happy home for our kids, and she has none of that. I explained that nobody is going to help her because she got herself here, and she's going to have to act like an adult if she wants to keep her kid. She kept screaming and saying stuff about how it's unfair, and we need to support her, and she needs help, and a lot of other stuff. I told her go to someone else, because no one in her family is going to help her, and she got mad and kept yelling about the same thing. I told her to leave me alone, and she didn't, and went on talking about her life, and how this pregnancy is making her parents and friends distant, and how it's not fair. I eventually got tired of her and told her that her mum thinks that she's a disappointment, and that no one else has to help you because you got yourself here. If you want help, ask the father. And if you can't ask him, then ask his family or something, because no one's going to help you the way that you expect them to. She got mad and told her dad what I said. He got upset and said that it was too far, and even if it's right, I shouldn't have said that. So am I the arsehole here? Note, she has a late birthday, so that's why it's 16 to 18 age gap. She turns 17 in November. The reason that I told her what her mum thinks is because she was complaining about how her mum doesn't want her at the house, and yes, her mum has told her before that she is a disappointment. Edit. A lot of you are under the assumption that no one told her the options. They have multiple times. She is choosing to keep this kid. Me and her dad told her that if she wants this kid, she will need to get a job, and we told her how much it would cost to raise that kid. She just says, okay, and moves on. Another thing is we/her parents do not know where his parents are. They've moved as they no longer feel the need to live in the school district. The boy is over 14 hours away at college, and it seems the only way to contact him is to see him, and me nor her dad is driving 14 hours away. In the comments, Seems like her father needs to contact the college student's parents. Get lawyers involved for child support. He can get a job. He shouldn't get off scot-free. He should get a DNA test first. The court will order a test before they order support, if he's not on the birth certificate. Refusing to take care of her child while she's at school is entirely within your rights. Helping her find daycare should be your concern as an adult. Telling her that you deserve help because your babies were wanted and hers isn't is literally telling her that her baby is worth less than yours. You can be certain that's how she heard it. This was my takeaway too. I get not everyone is able to help, but to say that my babies deserve a village and yours doesn't is actually a pretty vile perspective. That's what bothers me. She doesn't have to watch the kid, but she seems to want this girl to suffer. She is a pregnant teenager. She's going to suffer enough. They need to at least point her in the direction of help, especially if they are so unwilling. For someone who claims to have struggled with fertility and should understand how hard having a baby is under the best of circumstances, she's pretty damn callous. That was really direct of you. Does your stepdaughter understand what goes into raising and caring for a child? How has she been with your twins? OP says, no, she doesn't. She feels that everyone else would take care of her kid while she's in school. She's not really around them. She may hold one for a little while and then give her back. Well, she seems to have the perception that she can still have the life that she did before as a 16-year-old and be an occasional parental figure. She's expecting you and your husband to take care of her child as you have twins already, and you might as well raise them together. Unless reality comes down as a really heavy slap, she won't change her view of things. Honestly, if this was my child and they were being this stubborn, I would tell them they're being a fucking idiot as well, and that they need a really heavy slap of reality to come down on them. Look, I also disagree with OP saying that your child doesn't deserve a village. The way she worded that was incorrect. Yes, that was wrong, OP. Screw you for saying that. Now, with that out of the way, that's the only thing I see that you've done wrong in this situation. You're an asshole for that. Whatever. I, at 16 years old, and previous to that, and after that age, had it drilled in me that having a child at that age was pretty much a death sentence. If she is also raised in a first world country, she damn well should have had that drilled into her head as well, so she is knowingly bringing a child into this world, knowing that she has no supports, knowing that she has no community, knowing all of these bad things are against her, and she still is like, well, you know what, I'm going to be able to have my 16-year-old life. I'm going to be able to climb the ladder of life like everyone else, even though the early warning signs are all there that this is nothing but bad news. If she refuses to acknowledge how difficult it's going to be, how many sacrifices she's going to have to make, the fact that she might have to drop out of school, get a job to be able to look after this child if you guys are unwilling to do that, while that is questionable to not want to, give her the assistance that she may need as a single mother, as parents, I completely understand. Not everyone can make those sacrifices. Tough situation all around. I don't think you're an asshole in this situation, OP. I think she's being obtuse. I think this is a terrible decision that she is making personally. And now, onto the update. Hello all. I'm back with an update, but I do want to apologize for this update being late. My twins and I got sick, so it's just been a lot. So after I posted this post, I took some advice from the post and talked with my husband. We had a long talk about what we were and weren't going to help her with, and what all she needed to do. So we sat down, and in summary, we told her that if she wanted to continue at a real school, then she would need to figure out childcare, as I won't keep her kid. We told her that she needs a job and to look for resources for her and her baby. My husband told her that she's financially cut off until she finds a job and that she will only get gas money. We have agreed to watch the kid on the weekends while she works. We've also told her that if she fails to take care of her baby as far as neglect, that we will call CPS on her. The last main thing that I can think we told her was as long as she tries, we will help her with the baby's necessities, and that we don't mind helping with that if she needs it. After we told her that, she mainly asked why I wouldn't watch her baby while she went to school, and I just explained that I'm not going to deal with 3 little kids every day, especially with one being a baby. She didn't understand and tried to argue with me about it. But we did tell her that if she stays in school, she may have to repeat a year or go to summer school, as the time that she would give birth, it would be finals, and she would have to go to summer school. I did apologize to her for telling her the comment that I made about her mother, and she also apologized to me. Right now, she still doesn't have a job, but she has an interview, so that's good. Her dad's just happy that she's trying. Note, I want to address a few comments. One main comment I saw was a lot of people thought that we would kick her out. No. She's still a kid and a minor, and even when she's 18, we can still keep her in the house. The next thing was the rainbow baby comment. She asked why I got help, and her version of help right now is stuff was bought for my babies, and that people came into town when they were born to quote-unquote help with them. So, I explained that they are rainbow babies. That's why we got so many people's clothes, and people came to see them because they were probably the only kids that I will ever have. And they probably won't do it for her, as they have more traditional values, and don't even support her or try to help her now, so I doubt that they will when a baby comes. I will try to answer any questions that I can. Edit, I had a typo that made people think that she was being made to continue regular school. She is not. She wants to stay in regular school. A lot of you don't know what I mean by financially cut off. She will only get her needs and nothing more. If she wants to go out to lunch with friends, she will have to pay for that. He is no longer just handing her money to do what she wants. Again, she will still get anything she needs, just not once. Difficult situation all around, but they have a plan going forward. It is good that they are managing it this way. At least OP and her husband have their heads screwed on straight in this situation, and they are going to do right by the pregnant teenager in this situation and by the child. It is going to be hard. It is not going to be easy. She's not going to get the support that OP got. That definitely will lead to resentment, but that will lead to a lot of maturity and growing up on the teenagers' side of things. So I hope that she does grow up. I hope that, this is the slap in the face that she needs to kickstart her life a lot faster than her peers. So good luck to her, I say. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update, OP. Am I the asshole here for not wanting my dad to walk me on my senior night since he won't let me move back in? Okay, so first off, I do feel bad about complaining about all of this. I'm just a middle-class American teenager. Like, I have a car, and both my parents are well off and own homes. I'm not living in Gaza or anything terrible like that. I get it. But I'm 18 female and a senior in high school. I have straight A's and a full ride to a university next year. It's not my dream school, but I know that I'll end up going there because the economy is terrible, and while my parents are okay money-wise, free is free. My parents are divorced and remarried. My dad has been with my stepmom for a while, and my mum and stepdad have been together for about 5 years. A few months ago, I was diagnosed with a tick-borne disease and can't have red meat products. It's terrible, and I get so sick if I have anything. I miss steak. But a few weeks ago, the night before a dance, my dad was making dinner. I was at his house on one of the days that I normally wouldn't be because my mum was out of town and I don't like staying alone. He made my little brother's favorite meal that I didn't know had beef stock in it. Just to clarify, since I'd never read the meal, I asked if it was okay to eat and he said yes. Later, when I got sick, he checked the recipe again and felt terrible and admitted that there was beef stock and he forgot. That's obviously not his fault, but later when I was sick, we started fighting about the dance. I got super sick and had to miss my senior fall dance, which I know isn't the end of the world, but it really felt like it was, and I got into a huge fight with my dad. He called me spoiled and high maintenance, and I know I said things like I hate him and he doesn't care about me, and left to stay at my mum's. We had fought before, and I had cooled off and went back to his house on my normal day, thinking that we'd just apologize to one another like normal, but when I got there, he told me that he had packed up my room into trash bags and that he wasn't going to take abuse from his adult child. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. I was crying a bunch, and my stepmom was yelling at my dad. She gave me one of her credit cards and told me to call her if I ever needed anything, and I've been staying at my mum's ever since. which isn't great. She and her husband kind of do their own thing, and I just feel like I bother them. I recently broke up with my boyfriend too, and he's been kind of bothering me. And I asked my dad to tell him to stop, but he told me that I needed to deal with my own issues on my own. So I asked my stepdad, which was embarrassing, because I don't know him very well, and I don't know if he even fixed the situation, and seemed annoyed until my mum finally talked to my ex. He finally left me alone, but now his friends keep messing with me online and in person at school. My senior night for my team is this weekend. I wanted my dad there, and I told him that I'd buy him lunch this past weekend to talk. I told him that I knew that what I said was wrong, and I wasn't trying to make excuses, but I was feeling so bad and was so upset about the dance, and him calling me high maintenance and spoiled also hurt. He said that he knew that emotions were high, but I was an adult now, and actions had consequences. I get that, but if I was the first teenager to fight with her parents, I would understand. I'm a good kid. I have a scholarship and a job, and I know kids who have gotten, DUIs, and their parents still love them and let them live with them. He said he loved me, but that I needed to learn consequences, and that he'd still go to my senior night, but I told him don't bother. I had wanted all 4 of them to walk me, but now I just want to walk myself. I don't feel supported by any of them, and just paid and went to leave. He told me that if I didn't let him walk me at my senior night, then I could kiss goodbye to ever moving back in with him ever again. I told him that was fine. I was just so done trying to convince him that I was worthy of living in his house. If my parents weren't divorced, then it wouldn't even be a question if I'm allowed to live with my own dad. I'm fine with my decision. I have so many other things going on. My ex's friends are giving me problems. I'm playing like garbage anyways, and will probably be benched soon, so it doesn't matter. But my grandparents and even my stepmom have called and asked me to answer my dad's calls and to talk to him, and have said that I've upset him. I'm not trying to upset them, but I'm just not in a good place to deal with all of this with him right now, and I don't want anyone there. There's a part of me that doesn't even want to walk that night. In the comments, Boxed Feetsies says, "Not the arsehole. Your dad made a very heated and drastic move. His actions have consequences too. If he truly wanted to make amends, then he'd find a proper way instead of guilt-tripping you through family members. Try to control your temper in the heat-of-the-moment situations next time, and don't let people who don't make you feel supported and successful ruin your moments like your grad walk." OP replies, "It's not for graduation. It's for a senior night since I'm on a varsity team. I generally do control my temper. Everything is just so overwhelming right now, and I felt so sick. He just doesn't understand how bad the food makes me feel." A downvoted commenter replies to OP and says, "I don't get it. He said that he'd come with you, and you told him no. Why? You wanted him there, why did you tell him no? Because he said you can't live with him? You need to mend the relationship before you can move back in. While I think that he's wrong to be so demanding, I feel like your emotions are all over, and you're very reactive. You are making matters worse for yourself. He's being a jerk, yes, but you definitely aren't helping yourself." OP replies, "Yes, that is why I invited him, apologized again, and even bought him lunch. But he said that he still wouldn't let me move back in, and still won't help me with my ex harassing me, and I was just sitting there like, wait, why do I even want him there on my special night? I get he doesn't like me. I know neither of my parents do, because to them, I'm too much like the other one for them to ever actually really love me. But I thought that if I sat there and apologized and begged him for help, he'd at least care. And he didn't." OP replies to a long downvoted "everyone sucks here" comment, saying, "Yes, but I asked him if there was any red meat in the meal, and he said no. I was going to make myself something else, but was starving after practice, and it smelled good, so I had it. When I got sick, he remembered the broth. I've found some easy things that I can make, and even bought them myself for both houses, so they don't have to change their lives for me. If he said that there was beef products in it, I would have just eaten that. This is my last dance, and my now ex was angry that I was going to miss it, and was making me feel bad. I know I shouldn't have gotten angry, but it was really upsetting, and he wouldn't even comfort me when I was sick because he was annoyed." Difficult Bus says, "Not the arsehole. But you should take your father's calls and give him the chance to reconcile with you. Obviously, you know whatever nasty things you said to him hurt him. Apologize for that, while also emphasizing how serious your health condition is. You made a mistake regarding what you said to him during that argument, but he made a mistake not taking your health situation seriously. OP replies, I have apologized enough times. I even bought him lunch to apologize. The only thing he apologized to me about was for getting the stock, not calling me names, treating my stuff like garbage, or ignoring me when I was begging him for help with my ex who wouldn't leave me alone. I don't see what else I need to apologize for. I probably would if I even knew, but at this point, I think he should be the one apologizing and groveling because I'm just not in the place to do that anymore. I have so much other stuff going on. OP replies to a big thread. Yes, he apologized for not telling me about the beef stock when I asked if there was any red meat products in the meal, because I would have just made myself something else, no problem. But then I had to miss the dance, which made my ex blow up on me, so I broke up with him, and now he and all his friends are constantly harassing me, and I'm sick of them calling me a slut and a whore, or making accounts to harass me outside of school. I tried handling it on my own, but then my ex involved his friends, and now it's worse than ever. I asked my mum and stepdad for help, and it was okay for a day or so, but then got worse. The school doesn't care. I just wanted my dad to talk to my ex or something and get him to stop because I can hardly focus on school, much less sports, and now my family issues because of all of this. I might be an adult, but I'm still in high school. And yeah, maybe I'm not in danger, but I can't handle this. I went into it thinking that even if he didn't let me move back in, he would at least try to help me with my ex. I would want him at senior night, but he won't even help with that. But you're right. I'm an adult, and I can't depend on anyone else, and just need to put up with all of this and deal with it because I got angry with my dad and yelled at him. I just want one person to be on my frickin' side or have my back for once. That was lengthy. I understand. There was a lot that OP had to say, but this kind of gets to the crux of the issue, and with all of this extra information included, I don't think that OP's the arsehole here. Dad is saying that she needs to act like the adult, but what the hell is he doing? Is he modeling good, healthy adult behavior? What, when your child who is still figuring out who they are, how to navigate difficult situations, and everything else that comes with life, when they aren't perfectly able to adapt and deal with these situations, you shut them out of your life? Like, that is your lesson? Genuinely, what the fuck is his problem? This is gaslighting. Him saying that she is the one that has the problem here. She's the one that needs to, not abuse him, start treating him better. I get that, they had a fight. I get that she said some harsh things to him, but he fed her something under the pretense that it wasn't going to be meat product in it, and it gave her an intense reaction. Lone Star tick disease, whatever that is no joke. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. He might have meant well by it, but surely he has enough fucking self-awareness that he can realize he messed up just as bad as she did here. And if he hadn't messed up in the first place, it wouldn't have resulted in him being abused by her. Surely he can empathize with her position, but no. Then he refuses to help with an abusive ex who he could easily come and help step in with because OP realizes he has that capacity. This sucks. This just really sucks for OP. I feel terrible for her, but maybe this is a sign that when all of this simmers down and life moves on, you put some boundaries up between you and that dad until he starts acting right. That's for sure. And now, onto the update. I know it's been a while since I posted about my senior night, but basically, I got into a fight with my dad because he forgot that there was something that I was allergic to in the dinner that he made, and I had to miss my dance, and he kicked me out to live with my mum. He got super mad when I told him that he wasn't going to walk me at my senior night. Anyways, I didn't even end up going, and I kind of forgot about it. Not to be super woke or anything. Just kidding, I love being woke. But trigger warning. I think the trigger warning is for SA. That's what I think this is. It's kind of vague. So my coach isn't like a super nice guy or anything, but my ex's friends, the ones who had been harassing after my mum had finally gotten my ex to leave me alone, me, accidentally did so in front of him. They were punished, and I was really hoping that that would be the end of it, but it wasn't, And a few days later, when I wasn't at school, they did something bad. I don't want to elaborate, and they were arrested, and the ones whose parents could afford to have them out on bail, but I know 2 of them didn't get bailed out. My ex wasn't there, but he was charged with something else. He's over 18, but still got bail, and they ended up dropping the charges on him. It might be my fault. I know it's stupid, but before it happened, I had deleted all of his messages because it was really stressful having them on my phone. My mum keeps pushing for them to get a warrant for the deleted messages, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And honestly, I don't know if it would even matter. I have a restraining order for all of them though, which is good. There's a lady that I'll call Gail. I don't know if she's a social worker or actually a cop, but she's been really nice and helpful. She told me that if they don't take plea deals, there will be multiple trials, and I'd have to testify at all of them. I asked her when the trials would be because the school that I'm going to is far away, but she said not to worry about that. I just don't want to be at my new life and have to miss classes or something. I also really don't want to testify, and I do hope they take deals, even if it means they won't be punished as much. Like, I know they have rights, and there's allegedly still a constitution in America, but the idea of testifying at multiple trials makes me want to die. I've seen videos of people making fun of women who testify too, and I can't handle that, so I really hope they take deals. I guess if they could just combine all of the trials, and I only had to testify at one, I'd be okay with doing that, but Gail said that that's not likely to happen, and not to get my hopes up. She wasn't mean about that or anything, I think she was just being realistic. My mum and stepdad have been really good about everything. My stepdad and I don't know each other that well, but he broke down and apologized and said he blames himself and should have done more. I don't think he should blame himself. I even told him that, but he's been doing nice things for me a lot and making a lot of food that I like without me doing anything in return, so I feel bad. My mum's been really nice and supportive, but I think she's been taking all of this harder than I am almost, and that's annoying. She just randomly cries, and it's annoying to me because nothing happened to her. I haven't said anything to her about that, though. I don't need her acting like I'm still a kid and cutting up my food for me. I can do that. I haven't talked to my dad. I don't want to. The day before the party, I had begged my dad again to say something to one of the guys' dads because they work together, but he left me on red. So I guess I do kind of blame him. I know that's wrong, but I don't want to see or hear from him, so I blocked him. I don't even want him to know what happened. I know the police went to my mum's house to tell her, and was kind of hoping that since I was over 18, they wouldn't tell him, but since he was still my emergency contact, they did. I fixed that for the future. He's talked to my mum, but she said that I don't need to talk to him or even think about him right now. He sent a bunch of letters to my mum's house. For a week or whatever, it was every day, but now it's less often. But I didn't read any, and my mum said that she had just set them aside for now. I told her that she could throw them away, but I don't think she did. I mean, I'm sure he feels bad, but I don't want to hear him apologize or try to comfort me. I wanted his help before all of this, and have tried to stop it from happening, but he didn't do anything. So that's why I blame him, and not my mum or my stepdad. They at least tried to do something before all of this, even if what they did didn't work. I don't think I will forgive him. I know he's hurting, but I can't worry about his feelings. I know this sounds bad, but I'm not his only kid, and he has my brothers too, so I don't feel guilty. I'm not stopping him from being a dad forever to anyone, you know? Plus, I'm an adult now, and I can choose who can or cannot comfort me. I have a therapist now. She's fine. I wish I could have a different one because her voice kind of annoys me. I don't think they let you change therapists because of that, though. I actually hate therapy, to be honest, and I wish my mom would stop making it a big deal that I go. I don't want to tell her that it's kind of nice being the one in charge of my relationship with my dad, and not vice versa. That's probably bad, but it's true. Plus, I kind of have an I don't give a fuck attitude lately, and I probably would just say it to his face that I blame him and that it's his fault, which I know isn't fair. So not talking to him is the right thing to do. I also had to block my stepmom. She texted my aunt that it's nice just being them and their kids and not having my drama in their house, and it got back to me, so I'm just giving them what they want. Like, I wonder if either of them actually ever really loved or cared about me. Maybe kicking me out when I turned 18 was the plan all along, and that's why he did it over something so stupid. And, again, they have my brothers, so they're not missing out on anything with me, you know? Everyone at school knows, but they've all been nice. Like, not even just my team and friends, but everyone there has been nice. Like, really nice. I don't think that they're being fake or anything, but if they are, I told my therapist that was fine because I'd rather them be nice and fake than mean and authentic right now. I was kind of nervous because I'm not popular or anything at school. I'm not a loser or anything, but kind of do my own thing. The only other person in my class who's going to college is this one popular guy, and he promised me he wouldn't tell anyone at our college about this. I know people will probably still find out, but that was nice. He's been talking to me more, even outside of school. Like, we were on break part of last week, and he still reached out. It kind of feels like he's trying to hype me up for college, which is nice, because at first I'm kind of thinking about taking a year off or something, but I know I should. I think his parents both went to the school, and he's like obsessed with it, so he keeps sending me things going on there. His older sister also goes there, and he said that he's going to go a week early and stay with her, and invited me. I know it's a while away, and I told him that I'd think about it. I don't really want to, but it's one of those things where, like, I feel like even if I don't enjoy it, it'd be good for me long term to go and meet people before freshman week starts. So I don't know what I'll do about my dad. I was thinking about calling him at Christmas, but maybe I won't. My brothers have told my grandma that they want to see me at Christmas, but it might be because I always get them good gifts. Maybe I can go over to their house for a little. Mum and her husband don't do much like decorate or celebrate Christmas, and my dad's side is really festive, so I kind of miss that. I will probably do the more Christmassy things in town with my best friend's family. I know my mum and stepdad would do them if I asked, but maybe I'll just go with her family. So I don't know. My mum asked me if there was anything that my dad could do for me to want to listen to or to talk to him, and I told her that I'd think about it. Luckily, she's only asked once. So I'm not saying never, I'm just not interested right now. But I'm excited about the future and going to college, and think that I'll just focus on that. In the comments, OP replies to a big comment saying, I don't know if he knows. I doubt she knows that I know even. My cousin just saw the text on her mum's phone and told me. She might have just been venting or something, but I don't care. I don't know if they'll just let me see them without them there, but I can ask my grandma. Like, I don't know if they'll let them know what's happened, and I won't tell them or anything, but maybe they don't want my brothers to be a part of it. I don't know. In response to a big downvoted comment, OP says, I don't think it's that though. I just feel like he could have stopped all of this, but didn't want to. And if he's like, oh, I'm sorry this happened, I'd be like, are you? I told him that they were bothering me for weeks, and he didn't do anything, and now wants to act like he cares because it looks bad that I won't talk to him or see him. I don't believe that he actually cares about me and what happens to me. That same person responds to OP. OP says, maybe that is what she is. I don't know. I feel bad because when I first met her, she definitely told me, but I wasn't really paying attention, and now it feels awkward to ask. She tells me not to worry about testifying now, but it's just looming over everything that I do, and I wish I could just get it over with, and they would take deals or something so I wouldn't have to. I mean, I want to help and all, but I feel like I haven't really helped at all so far. I sort of asked about remote testifying, and she kind of said that some of the judges in our area or whatever aren't so big on it, so we'll see. I'm not sure if it would be better or worse, to be honest. OP replying to a big thread says, I don't know. I didn't read the letters. He could still think that he did nothing wrong, and even if he did, it's not like he's sending them every day like he was before, so I feel like probably in a few months they'll just stop, and in time, he'll just forget about it all. He might already be starting to forget, and maybe that's for the best. My therapist had me write my dad a letter, but not send it. And it wasn't very nice, and that's how I know I probably shouldn't talk to him for a while. I feel like I blame him more than my ex and his friends for what happened. Yes, they are awful, but it's supposed to be my dad's job to take care of me and keep me safe, and instead, he threw me away like trash. And maybe he's just trying to connect with me because it looks bad that I won't talk to him. I don't know. I'm sure he'll get over it. This time next year, he probably won't even be thinking about it or me. Unfortunately, I doubt I will forget about it ever. Hellfire Chris says, so after one argument with his teenage daughter over something that was actually his fault, he decides to kick her out and then hold living with him over her head. That's a shitty thing to do, but she wasn't homeless, and if he'd eventually let her back in and apologized, it would be forgivable. Your daughter comes to you and says an ex-boyfriend and his friends are harassing her and she needs help, and you tell her to get lost, and that leads to her being assaulted? There's no coming back from that. What a terrible excuse for a father. Guess what, Dad? You're a fucking adult, and both your actions and inactions have consequences. You're a shitty excuse for a father. This poor kid. I was only halfway through the original post when I came to the same conclusion that she does in the update. Her dad wanted her out and seized the first opportunity to dump her. So frustrating when grown adults describe the medical problems of their own child and the tensions of their own divorce and split family as her drama. Their own emotional comfort is apparently the only thing that matters to them. Man, rough one. That was not how I expected this update to go. Jesus Christ, that was rough. I'm on board with OP. I blame him for this. And I hope he feels like shit for a long time, and I hope OP maintains no contact with him. But, as OP said, she knows him better than we do. He might just forget about it and move on, because really, he did get what he wanted. He got her out of the house. He's getting to live without her quote-unquote drama, which is drama that he caused. That's his own, burden. Those are his problems. He's just projecting that onto her. I don't care. Maybe I'm too woke. I'm using therapy speak, gaslighting, and projecting. Those are exactly what this motherfucker was doing. And I hope he rots from the inside out for that, because I believe that is unforgivable. I don't think there is anything he can say and do at this point to make up for his mistakes. And if OP ever wants to let him back into her life, that is completely up to her, and she will be stronger than me if she ever does so. I hope things look up from here, OP. I wish you the best of luck with testifying at those court cases. I do hope they take those plea deals, but it doesn't always work that way. Some people will do some terrible things and still try to testify and say that they're not guilty. They didn't do that. The glove don't fit. Must have quit, huh? Who done it? Certainly not me, that's for sure. That's what they be saying. Best of luck, OP. Our next post is by user Least Ants, and it's titled, My girlfriend of 10 years said that she needed more time when I proposed to her. Am I the asshole here for checking out of my relationship ever since? So my girlfriend and I, both 25 years old, have been dating for 10 years. Prior to dating, we were close friends. We've known each other for almost 17 years now. Last month, I proposed to her, and she said that she needed some more time to get her life in order. The whole thing shocked me. She apologized, and I told her that it was okay. Does anyone else feel odd about them knowing each other for 17 years? Like, met up at 8 years old, and it's like, that's my wife. Okay, Norbert. However, I have been checking out of my relationship ever since she said no. As days pass, I'm slowly falling out of love with her, and she's probably noticed it. I have stopped initiating date nights, sex, and she's been pretty much initiating everything. She's asked me many times about proposing, and she's said that she's ready now. But I told her that I need more time to think about it. She's reassured me many times that we are meant to be together, and that she wants me to be her life partner forever. We live together in an apartment, but our lease is expiring in a couple of months. I don't really plan on extending it, and I'm probably gonna break up with her then. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, Zed Elderpin says, if you're sure about breaking up, do it now. Yeah, he needs to tell her now so that she can work out living arrangements. Imagine how shitty that would be, like, surprise, you lost the person that you loved as long as you remember, and you have nowhere to live. Did you guys discuss getting engaged before you proposed? I agree with the other comments that not communicating any of this until your lease is up is a dick move. It's bad enough that you'll both be experiencing adulthood without the other for the first time, but you have a huge advantage by knowing that you need to prepare ahead of time. Leaving her in the dark is cruel and undeserved, since it sounds like all she did was not accept a seemingly surprise proposal. Not only did they talk about it, they went ring shopping together. It's in one of OP's comments in the responses. Oh no. Oh no. This is so messy. What is going on? This is a situation where I'm like, maybe we need to just continue the sunk cost fallacy and play into it a bit more. Please, God, stop acting so rash right now. The both of you need some time off. Maybe go get couples counseling and individual counseling so that you can sort out whatever the hell is going on there. This does not have to be the end of the line. You are making very emotional choices, and if you are to break it off, tell her, but I don't know if breaking it off is the answer. And now, on to the update. So I, 26 male, am engaged to my fiancée, 26 female. We've been together for 11 years. Our biggest relationship difficulty happened last year when I proposed and she rejected me. You can check my previous post for more details. That was genuinely the worst moment of my life. Even though she apologized in the days and weeks after and said that she panicked and that she did want to marry me, I was very close to ending things. Eventually, I stayed, and a few months later, I proposed again, and she said yes immediately and was super happy about it. But it's always been in the back of my mind how she rejected and humiliated me when I first proposed to her. So my fiancé has a sister. The three of us grew up almost like a trio. Growing up, though, I was always closer to her sister. She always reminded me of my own sister who passed when she was 10. She asked me out once in middle school and again in freshman year of high school, but I always saw her like a sister. And in sophomore year, I started dating my fiancée, her sister. She was nothing but supportive and was genuinely happy for us. So yeah, Thanksgiving was yesterday. I was invited, I'm close with her parents too, and we all drank, laughed, talked. Late at night, my fiancé's sister asked if we could go to another room to talk. We were both drunk, reminiscing about old memories, and she